Welcome to the show. Ricky's got some pussy on his lap.
I am the kitty critic.
The kitty critic. Speaking of critic,
Booby time.
when you said that, I'm like, oh my god, that'll be the intro for when I have some funny things to show.
When did I say that?
Oh, it was in your drive review. You were talking about, oh yeah, so Black Angus will explain, like, well, in movies, like, classically it's always like, here's naked girls with tits out, but it's like for 5 seconds because then gunfire and they all just run with their heads chopped off. And you're saying something about me saying like booby time or whatever, and so I'm like, the clip.
I recorded that like 3 weeks ago, so I was like, what? That's funny. It's funny, like I know you probably didn't say it like that, but I like how that's how I interpreted it. It was booby time.
What is up, Sherry? The lovely Sherry, the mod Sherry. How goes it, Sherry? You never answered me, by the way. I am expecting a full detailed explanation in the what do you call it? In the DMs. Yeah. You've piqued my interest, lady. But yeah, we'll be talking about Last of Us. Probably gonna stall that a bit, that main topic. Hopefully you like my thumbnail. I thought it was fun. Oh, perfect timing, actually. Maybe we won't be stalling.
That's perfect.
Hello, the Walton, the author.
Hello, the Angus. Hello, the Rook.
Hello.
I'm here to talk about gays, and I don't mean the red one.
Perfect.
So, interesting development. This can add context, I guess. This will be like all of us reading this fresh, but essentially the director's like, we'll trick them to watch the gays, and everyone's jumping on that, like, see, they're proving the agenda, and it's like, oh my god. And this feels like this is our era's like Star Trek, Uhura and Kirk kissing the first generation. This is our generation's that, as far as like, here's a popular thing explicitly, like it's already a factor of the game. Okay, here's my frustration. For anyone who doesn't know, isn't watching Last of Us, you might be following channels in the sphere of us that are harping on the gays in Last of Us. Oh, how could they? It's a gay utopia. Blah blah blah. Like all this weirdo.
Is that what they call it? A gay utopia?
It's like it just feels, like, so you're like, oh, don't let your kids see this. It's like you're talking about an adult rated M game adapted rated M fucking HBO, essentially a rated R show about a zombie apocalypse with like intense assaults by these things, killing children, murders of children, and you're saying don't let your children watch this when the gays pop up. And so,
when watching Game of Thrones, I had to hide my kids often when watching that one with the kids.
No, well, like, okay. So the other side, like, I watch Campia and his take, and they're saying like, "Whoa, you letting your kids watch Last of Us? What a piece of shit parent!" And it's like, "Oh no, I think it's fine depending on the age or the temperament of your child watching scary stuff or whatever, adult themed stuff, because adult doesn't mean like, oh, it's all sex or something."
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm someone to let my kids watch Game of Thrones, and what I mean by that is, I don't like censor TV for the most part. Everything's open for my kids. I don't care if they see nudity, but I don't let them watch sex. So you're like, well, Game of Thrones. No, I'll play Game of Thrones when I want to watch something, because they're not going to want to watch it. If they do, they'll watch the fights, and I'm not going to let them see explicit sex scenes. I've seen the show plenty of times, so I'll be like, all right, go away, go play.
There's a difference between nudity and sex. Older cinema had lots of nudity in it.
There's like there's the Romeo and Juliet actors 50 years later trying to sue for like molestation or something, for letting them be nude when they're underage, even though I think it's like a European film.
That's not molestation. That's
or whatever, in that range, in that realm.
Right.
Like I don't know what the right term is they're suing under, but
they're
like
suing for like child prawn or something.
Yeah, some angle like that, and 50 years after the fact. but yeah, like I let my kids watch whatever. Like I've had them watch Predator. We've watched Platoon. I'll watch like Black Hawk Down. Like they're not really gonna watch it, or they'll just see the action scenes and they'll tune out. And they're not gonna sit for like the boring stuff. And I'm not gonna let them watch like explicit sex. But if it's nudity, it's whatever, because like that's nature. And I don't want it to be like, I don't want to engender this like, oh, nudity is naughty or something.
There's a difference between nude and then risque.
Right. So I think that's a dumb take to say, oh, you let your kids watch Last of Us? What a piece of shit parent. Like that's stupid too. But this idea of like, don't let your kids watch it. Like when you get to episode 3, now you're saying this because gay, and there's nothing like there's a, like you've seen it. So there's a part where it's like, all right, it might get iffy.
There are two parts.
It's a bedroom scene that might be taking place. And so you're like, all right, that one spot. But otherwise, it looks like just an everyday couple, but it's gay. So my frustration, and I think Rookie's too, I don't know how much he's frustrated with us, but it's like, I don't like to say homophobia or any of these istism-phobe claims, but that's kind of all I'm seeing. And it's irritating because this is a game adaptation where, yes, they've done it different from what you saw in the game. I'm aware of that. But people that will be like, oh, race swaps. Well, okay, the Black Valerians in House of Dragons, fine, because even though it's a race swap, the creator okayed it. So whatever. It's not just insert. Okay. But then when the creator is involved with this show and does something different with his characters, Bill and Frank, now it's agenda. Now it's woke. Even though it's Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec, and he is like the same character, but serious, where he's like red-blooded American, Gadsden flag, Second Amendment, paranoid prepper, hates the government, and it, is excited like, all right, the end of times, I'm free from,
right.
But he's gay. Like he's a manly gay. Like the gay is not a pride flag that he's flying. He flies the Gadsden flag and the American flag. Like when people in our sphere say, we don't care about diversity, just make it organic and don't shove it down our throats. This is pretty tame.
Yeah. And it's extremely tame.
And if anything, it's like, this is you maggots. He's just a gay maggot. And you're still triggered and call it woke. And so it's like, what these people in power of your entertainment are not going to listen to you when you react like this to something so mild. Like even if it's offensive because of your religion or whatever, like there's a reality. And when you veil your criticism with like your homophobic criticism as like, oh, it's a generator. It's like gay people exist and there's a spectrum. Not everyone is a Biden, Kamala, leftist, libs of TikToker or whatever. There's normal people like I'm bi. I don't identify with the alphabet because it's weird. This autism spectrum of the rainbow. I don't like it. I don't identify with it. I'm a conservative. And so it was nice. Like me, I'm like, wow, he's not, he's not insufferable and a stereotype and a fruit.
We are all prepping for everything we're going to be saying in the next 45 minutes, guys. It's going to be a hot fucking live stream, so please share out this link. I'm sorry, Angus, go ahead.
No, you're good. Yeah, I'm just, it's frustrating because it's like I'm OG Menace, like so is Rookie, varying temperaments and whatnot. But yeah, no, politics is a factor, and it's like, yeah, I don't like race swapping. I don't like disingenuous forced diversity and whatnot, these mandates, he's checking the boxes. This felt like, okay, let's make a genuine character, even if it's different from the original game. This is something in that sphere of what all of us are saying, and then you get the same reaction if like Batwoman or something. And it's like, we're not going to win anything from Hollywood when you act like this for what this was.
Well, I'd like to.
That's my frustration. So yeah,
I'd like to say, Angus, this is a trap, and I mean that both ways. You know,
It's a double trap.
Yeah. What's up? Hey, how the lovely Sherry? Hold on. Hold on. Sherry gets camera. Hi, baby. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Good to see you.
Doing great on this mod game, and then we got Wizard Brain Lou, which she's awesome.
Welcome.
What's up? Wizard Brain Lou. I like that name.
Yeah, I started following on Twitter. I found her somehow because of comics or something. So we just started following each other. And yeah, she's my first donor on my tip jar. So I appreciate it. So she's helping make the meth empire possible.
All right. And there's nothing more important than supporting independent meth creators.
Exactly.
But yeah, you go on, Walton. What were you saying?
Oh man, I was just saying, guys, we're gonna have some tasty talk. If any of y'all out there in the audience right now are OGTFM, this is a panel of 3 of them came up second wave, and we're about to buck the system because I have to agree with Angus. And it's God, you covered so many things, so many good points, dude. First off, it's that we're gonna start off with that old school binary way of thinking. Everything is light or dark, up or down. That static thinking that got us where we were in our entertainments and in politics and everything that's followed in the last 7-8 years. It's a binary way of thinking. Like there's no room for gray. And we've lost the ability to look at the nuance of some of these entertainment, some of these cinema, TV, film, all that are coming out. This is an example of a trap being laid. Now, I don't know the story of the game. I didn't play the game, so I don't know the game. All I know is this episode that I just watched, which was pretty fucking good. There was one. Okay, the bedroom scene. I don't know what they were saying. I had skipped up. It was only like 30 seconds, though, real quick. And there was another one where they were intensely. Look, if that's made for you, that's made for you, and that's fine. I can fast forward a couple seconds out of a freaking program and still appreciate the characters that are being given to me. I'm gonna stick on that point right now, and then I'll go forward after you guys have something to say, because I got a lot to say about this. Really?
Yeah. So what did you think of the episode? Like overall, you're new to this. You haven't played the game. I don't think you've seen the first 2 episodes. So you're just watching because of this episode and the controversy.
So it's like my son walked in the very beginning when I was about 30 minutes in and asked me.
No, save the children.
Because he has seen it.
Shield the eyes.
He had seen it, and I asked him. I said, what do you think of it? And he was like, he likes it, so far. And he says, what do you think? I said, well, I'll be honest with you, man. This is when I first looked at the cast. I'm looking right there's the guy that called me a Nazi, and there's a chick that don't know her gender. And this is the first thing that comes into my mind. And that's before I even started watching the acting. And my son said, that's why I never really got behind that whole thing that you were doing with Dad. I was supporting you, but I didn't get behind it because it seemed like you hated on everything. And he's right. There's a greater context to that, having our entertainments be used and beat us over the head as platforms for extremist propaganda, which put everybody to this grassroots movement that came back, pushed up and said, no, we ain't what you labeling us. We're a lot more diverse than that. That was one of the points that we had early TFM, at least that I had. The things that I said was that we are not just this group. We are not just this collective. We're not a hive mind. We're not all painted. We're not all coming out of a fucking machine. We are very different people. We are an international audience that is upset, made up of all different parts of society. Angus shows that. Angus gay conservative. My parents are gay conservatives. They do fucking exist.
Well, no, I'm bi. I like the ladies.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I like the bi. There's a difference.
I don't like dudes. I like the dog, bro. So yeah. Sparky gay.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it like that. Well, I was going into my parents, and my parents are lesbians. They straight lesbian. My mom had dick long enough to have 2 kids and said that ain't for me. And oh God, there's so many different parts of this to get into. The episode itself. Was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm actually going to go back and watch the other 2. Now, as I said, I don't know the story of the game. All I know is what I saw on screen. That was a love story. That was actually it was nice. It hit me. It hit my feminine energies because I really enjoyed. First off, they give you this dude, right? Well, as soon as I see the acting of Bella and what's his fucking name, Nazi guy, I I liked it. I was okay with it. I kind of liked the story. I saw the fight from him not to be a fatherly figure. Like a lot of things I had to figure out as the story went on. Post apocalypse. That's really all I know. We get to Bill. Yo, I love that motherfucker from the jump. He's fucking under the floor. He's like, come on, you jackboot Nazi fucks. I'm like, yeah.
Wait. I gotta interject really quick with that scene. Me and Ricky, we watch a lot of shit over the phone together because he's out in Washington, I'm in Ohio. And because of all the talk we're hearing about this show from the start, it's like, oh, I just expected dog shit. Despite being HBO, I was like, because of the whole Last of Us 2 debacle. So we're watching this episode being totally bought in now with the first two. We're watching it, and the whole layout of, oh, yeah, they would kill people if there wasn't room in the quarantine zones. And that's probably what these people are, these skeletons. And so then they cut to in the past, and the first thing you see is a black woman and a baby. I'm like, oh, God, diversity. This is going to be the angle. Of like police brutality allegory. I'm like, oh, no, here it comes. And then it's Bill and Frank, which I only got in the game. Essentially what episode 2 does. That's how far I got into the game, so it's not a big deal to me. But yeah, so the fact it went this way with representation and it wasn't woke and it was kind of conservative, I'm like, this is nice. I like this nuance. So it totally blindsided me because I was expecting wokeness with the black woman, and then that was a non-factor. She's out of there, and then you get conservative gay guy. Continue.
I get you, brother. It was, and that look, it was at that point that I was going to text you. What's up, Papa Cotton? Hell, brother.
Cotton, bro.
I got to that point. I was about to text you and ask you if episode 3 was the right episode. I was like, there's no gay in this. I was like, I'm looking for the gay the whole time. That's why I'm watching this episode. Where's all the gay? And then all of a sudden we get like, when he was setting up and he was going out collecting shit and he was getting oil, he was pulling, he had a plan. That was the guy that was going to survive. At that point in time, I said, this is the wrong episode. I do not see anything gay coming here. And then all of a sudden, boom, that dude showed up. And I didn't even get it at first. Honestly, I didn't get where they were going with it until, they really started to telegraph it. And at that point, I was like, oh, okay. And then it took me in. Without spoiling the whole thing, I guess we're going to go through it. Are we going to go through it step by step?
Yeah, no, of course. Okay. It's been like over half a week. So, like, you've had your chance, essentially. Or you can just dip out and come here later. Yeah.
Like, did it become like a oh my God, I really, really love this person gay? Yeah. But it was but I would have had the same reaction to that if it was just like any type of, it was a man and a woman, if it was a heterosexual, and it was like that. I'd be like, all right, come on, enough. All right, let's go back to action. What's going on? I did feel like that at times. But the story itself was a well-told story. And yes. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, like the way I'd set it up is like you said, he's just red-blooded American dude. He's getting all his stuff. He's ready to prep. He's getting all his things. And it seems like it's quite a while. I forget if it was a couple years after the pandemic or after the pandemic. Fuck, it's in my head now. After the apocalypse, basically, that he meets Frank. But like, that's probably the first person he caught alive. There's probably been other people that have been killed walking into his traps, I imagine. But a little different when you actually see them in person, sort of. So gives him a chance. He's like, okay, go away. But he's like, no, I'm hungry. Come on. It's like, okay, fine. I'll give you some food, and then you can leave. All right, no problem. Like, go back to myself. That's fine. And then he's actually like spending time with somebody after everybody's fucked off for a long time. So, and then he's playing music, and it's like, all right, there's somebody here. I don't even know if this dude was gay before, but it's like I can see in a post-apocalyptic area, especially if he's by himself all the time, like the potential, there's somebody else here finally. So this is, and maybe he was just surviving and that's it, nothing to do though. He's all set. So it's like, I don't know, this made sense to me. Some people said it came out of nowhere. I was like, I don't know, it just seemed organic enough. Like, how much more time do you want to see stuff happen to believe this? You know what I mean?
Well, the thing too, when I say I'm just seeing a lot of homophobia about this episode, and like if you watch my channel enough, like I mock those claims all the time with the media. Oh, here's ismphobes, blah blah blah. But like, there's no other way to put it, I'm afraid. I understand people have religions, and they have their principles and whatnot. And I'm not saying don't have those. I disagree, but I understand. I used to be Catholic, and before that, we were like evangelical, getting into it. So I was a convert. So I understand all the different forms of Christianity besides like Amish. But that's the only criticism I'm seeing. And people like, oh, like a severe minority of the population, and it's front and center in this show. And what's weird? Okay, so to unfortunately kind of spoil the whole big twist. Do you mind if I spoil the big twist of the game? All right, the big twist of the game is that Ellie, you know, she's been bitten, but she's like a carrier. She is not getting infected herself. And so it's like, she could be the cure. So you would think, oh, draw her blood, make a vaccine, antibodies, whatever. But in the game, it's like, well, we got to cut her brain out. And this guy who lost his daughter is like, this is like his new daughter, essentially. He's a surrogate father. It's essentially the Mandalorian, but mature. Okay. And he will not do it. He doesn't give a fuck about humanity when it's like, I love her. I'm not going to do it. So he kills the people and saves her. She never knows about it. And that leads into the second game, and thus a revenge against Joel. And that's a big controversy how they carry that out. But regardless, that's the so you're talking about like people saying like, oh, people being gay in the apocalypse when humanity is on the ropes. Like gay people owe humanity to not be gay to repopulate when they're already just a minority. They're a recessive trait in society. And yet you're watching an adaptation of a game with the moral quandary of, does Ellie and her surrogate father owe humanity a cure at the expense of her life? That's the twist. So it's morally ambiguous. There's not necessarily a right answer. So and so you're watching a movie, a show based on a game with this moral quandary, and then you're also saying, no, gays, you shouldn't be gay because we got to repopulate the earth. You get what I mean? This is just veiled homophobia.
I was gonna say, those individuals don't care though either. Like he was totally fine being the last person alive as far as he's concerned.
Right.
And then he's like, oh well, somebody else is around, and I guess it's giving my life a little more meaning, like other than just I'm eating my food and then I'm okay. Like nothing else is happening. Like
right.
I don't know. That's how I kind of see it. It's like
I see it as like somebody who, I mean, they kind of worked it into the bed scene. I watched up to a certain point, and he was saying, "This is my first time." What is this? His first time, like probably second time in his life. He's only ever had sex with a girl. Like this dude has always been a recluse. He's always been
he was pretty much an incel, right?
All right. So another human body came by and said, "Hey, I'll stroke it." You know, like he was like,
but like it wasn't so blatant, but exactly, it was like that's what kind of happened, and then he probably could have kicked him out any time still if he wanted to, or killed him or whatever. But
Bill was a real alpha. If he had to do that, he would have slapped a bitch. All right, Frank was the bitch. Let's be real. And
he's the woman.
Well, Frank wanted to have them have friends and stuff, and he's just like, no, I don't want that. And he's like, no, I'm already talking to a woman. And
well, you gotta give it to your woman. Like Brooke, you gotta give it to your woman every now and again if you want to get play. You know, like, and that's what he was doing.
But I mean, it's just
they got strawberries out of it.
Yeah, I mean, like they imply that like
not on the strawberries.
That's for Frodo and Sam to have strawberries.
Yeah, no, that's the thing too. Like if Peter Jackson's like, if he came out, it's like, the way I filmed it, I veiled gayness in Frodo and Sam, and it's like I totally see it. Like I watch it, I'm like, this is so fucking gay. Like it's a great story, but I'm like, this is fucking gay. Like they're
very sensitive.
The war romance of like the platonic friendship that Tolkien's going for is fucking gay. And I've been in the army, and I've seen people post deployment that they've had these homoerotic relationships where it's not even gay. They're not homosexuals, but like you have this weird bond that you only get from this scenario. But if you said, oh, they're gay, I would believe it because it looks fucking gay.
I agree with you.
It doesn't hurt the story at all.
It's weird that I never looked at it as like that warrior aspect. I mean, samurais and Spartans, would you walk up and call them a fact? You know what I mean? They were some of the toughest dudes who were bi. I didn't ever look at it like that, but with Frodo and Sam, there's definitely like because of what they went through and the journey they took, and it deepened their friendship and love and appreciation for one another, and so you can see it. I don't look into it like that.
It's literally that situation of it doesn't matter if they are or not.
I'm
Right,
not
You can say they are, and you can say they're
fanficking it.
not. And it
I'm not
doesn't matter.
fanficking it. I'm just like, oh
Angus is
man,
gonna
like,
roll.
this feels uncomfortably gay at times. This relationship between
They
them.
have all
and
the
I'm like,
math there, and they just haven't like written the finally like the answer.
There was no reach around. That's what
2
Brooke
plus
is
2 is
saying.
there,
Yeah.
but they didn't write 4. You know, like they didn't write 4 though.
yeah.
But
And
it's
to
there.
be clear, and yeah, thank you, Wizard Brain, for another donation to the
Thank you.
tip jar. I appreciate it. So when I'm saying like I'm seeing homophobia, I'm just calling this out from my view. I'm not saying you can't say homophobic stuff. Like, I support your right to feel this and to express it. So I don't like this kind of disingenuous, like being in this for like 4 or 5 years. I don't like this disingenuous kind of delivery.
Mhm.
And it seems hypocritical with the commentary about diversity in our sphere of like, well, just do it good. And it's like, I don't know how you do this better besides like if
Yeah.
you made Leonidas gay in 300. And so
Oh.
and with let me see, Papa Cotton, yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. The commentary of like, if preppers are going to be the only people left after the apocalypse, isn't it counterproductive to be gay? It's like, well, if you're gay and then the apocalypse happens, you don't owe humanity.
Well, then
Like,
they
no,
go,
that-
okay, time to turn it
switch
around
sexes.
now.
That,
All right,
that is the
women.
whole thing with this game and the show, is that the end of this season or the show will be, oh, well, she's a potential cure, but we have to kill her
Well,
to try
hold
to
on,
get the
not-
cure.
It's
And
not
like,
Jurassic
she doesn't
Park.
Not
owe,
only
she
that-
doesn't
hold on,
owe
no.
them.
Not only that, you guys, I from what I hadn't played the game, but apparently Ellie like has a girlfriend in the second game.
She's a
meaning
gay
like,
character.
She's like choosing to not procreate for humanity, which could breed people with like an immunity to getting, you know what I mean? It's like, nope, she doesn't want to. So it's like, all right,
Like that angle, that could be construed as rape culture. The idea of like, well, yeah, you're lesbian, but we need to repopulate. And it's like, but I don't want to. Like, that's your own agency. And
Okay,
there's
and I
this
mean,
idea
that's-
of like, you need to procreate, especially because you have the
There's a
cure. It's like,
difference.
I don't have to though. I don't want
Especially-
to.
I'm sorry, guy. End of the world scenario. Okay, end of the world scenario. Okay, democracy and free and civil liberty. Some of them go out the fucking window. If it comes down
they
to the,
show that in the show. They literally have a kid who approaches this town that they're in, and they're like, "Oh, you know, we're gonna get you a favorite meal and toy. Where'd you get hurt? Oh, that's unfortunate." And then, no, just gonna give you a shot, and then we'll give you everything. It's all good. They kill him, and it's
Damn.
like, you know, I don't know. You want to talk about? It's just like
well,
moralities in the apocalypse. It's
Yeah,
like,
and you want to talk about don't let
I
your
don't know.
kids see this. It's like, well, I don't know if you should show kid murder to your kids. Like,
And it's like
I'm
the
not-
kid
like,
might not have
I-
been
I
bitten. He
like-
just was injured.
I think it's good to show kids death in film, at least, because we're so besides maybe taking your kids hunting or fishing, we're so sheltered from death as a normal scenario. Like in Afghanistan, where I was, I had kids die on me. You might walk on an IED that was, it might just be a mine from like the Russians, you know, that fine goes off.
mhm.
This is a war-torn country for centuries, off and on. So yeah, and saying like you got to shelter your kids from the show because it's gay. And it's like, but did you see episode 1? Like, they kill kids. You know, his daughter got murdered by the military before they even got the quarantine zones like that. And so that's where my wires are crossed seeing all this. And it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, Stony Mick brings up a point here. He says a fair amount of people are saying, "Nah, this is a good, healthy gay couple and all," but the problem is it has nothing to do with the main story, which seems fair to me.
Fair.
But
And that's a
It's
fair
definitely
point.
a sidestep.
Yeah.
I'd say I would argue that the main thing might be the placement at episode 3. It could be a little jarring for some people for the progress of a story, but I guess with 9 episodes, it's hard to tell where you would want to put this. And I feel like having this sooner rather than later is better, so that it's not when things are heating up and then you step aside for this. You know, this type of thing is-
There's a and it's actually it is a side story most of that episode, but it's also pivotal, I think, to the growth of the characters.
Yeah.
Because this is the point where Joel says he's going to look after her.
Yes.
This is where he, you know, has to confront that, and you know, this
Yeah.
whole episode is, you know, coming confrontation. I guess the girl was the cause of his wife's death.
Well, I mean, them
I-
trying to get her to safety. They were these two were led to, you know, bring her to safety, and she got bit along the way, and then she blew herself up to
Okay.
save them, and then he gets to here, and then it's the way I see it too is like these two might have been like the last like super civil people around, like as far as we know, like that are gonna be this nice, this that were able to be this sheltered in a way from the craziness of the world. And he just lost Tess, and then in the message he's like, I was out for myself, and then Frank came along and I was looking after him, and you should look after Tess, and Tess is dead and his daughter's dead, and he's looking after Ellie now. It's like that. I feel like that hits a lot harder having seen like how good their little life was, and then where Joel's at and with his and what he's doing going forward. It's like, he's gonna be changing a bit. A lot of people don't even like Ellie right now, but three episodes into a show, I feel like I'm okay if the development takes a while to get there. They don't have, not everybody has to be likable right away. Some people said that Frank and Bill's deaths were supposed to feel sorry for them, or like were like forced to feel sympathy. I don't know if I felt sympathy.
Forced to feel sympathy.
I'm like, I don't know. I felt like it was just like, well, yeah, they lived their lives, and in a way, I'm kind of glad that these people died. Like one was going to die by an illness, and then the other one was going to kill them. Like they both killed themselves, and it's like, I mean, people still get sick and from normal stuff in an apocalypse, I would think. And I was like, I was kind of glad to see that in something. It wasn't just an apocalypse related death.
Yeah, right. No, in the story, I mean, because it is a major part of this episode, so you are invested as a viewer watching it. Like it was a good story. Like I don't, things like a gay relationship does not affect me when I see it on screen. It's when I notice that it's being projected on me, and that's because I am I'm one of the only heterosexuals carrying a banner in a family tree full of fruit. Okay. I have seen gay. I'm so comfortable with gay. I don't give a shit about that. Like I understand. I'm so comfortable with gay. When I call a straight dude an FAG, I know how it's hurting them. Because I understand the terminology. I understand the fighting that gay rights had to go through. The things that happened to my transgender uncle turn into an aunt. I have seen one of my uncles get beat down and raped because he was gay. You know what I mean? Like I've seen these things happen through the lens of my family throughout my life. That shit doesn't affect me. It's when I see it projected on, like we're doing this just to be gay, just throw this in your face. I mean, that's where all the weird ass extra colors of the rainbow and all that bullshit. By the way, straight people, let's reclaim the rainbow. That shit's macho. When this community began to form, going back to earlier point that Angus was trying to make, when this community started to form, honestly, it was a lot of conservatives. It is conservative heavy, the Menace and what's come after, whatever the fuck you call yourself now, but y'all are still fan of Menace. And you have to accept that. I had to accept that when a brother came out the broom closet, and all of a sudden I was untouchable. I was a bad person. In a few circles. Walton, no, he's just something not right about him. There's, I had something. My opinions were wrong, and people had a problem with me because I prayed the wrong way, which is another thing that I have dealt with my entire life. I understand coming into that what type of community this is. Overall, a lot of conservative-minded Christian type people, and I've said this plenty of times. My traditional enemy. The ones that tell me that because I pray a different way, I'm satanic. Because I pray a different way, I'm not going to go to a celestial heaven. Because I pray a different way, my opinions are invalid, or I have the devil in me, or you can't trust that guy because he doesn't pray the right way. So I've seen that in this community, dealt with it, and have been quiet on it for the most part since that shit started happening several years ago. Friends I was live streaming with, hanging out with, gone. All of a sudden, that crew of people don't like me. Why? Because I pray the wrong way. There are latent bigotries in absolutely this sphere that we operate in. And I think it's one of the reasons it's important for us to critique things on the value of its entertainment. We can separate the two. We could say I'm not going to watch this because this person's an asshole. Like I said, when I first started turning this episode on, I looked this up. There's a guy that called me a Nazi. I wasn't even planning on watching them. I did it for this show. I watched this episode. And there's the chick that I thought was cool in Game of Thrones, but I don't know if I'm interested anymore because like now she's coming out. I don't know what gender I am. Bullshit. Like get the fuck out of here. I'm traditional gay rights for my family. I'm also for religious rights. Always have been. But there is absolutely a certain level of dogma in the rhetoric that is spewed out about everyone having the right to their own opinion and everyone having the right to like what they like, and then just straight hating on something because there's an element that you don't agree with religiously. There's a difference between religion and morality, y'all. All right, straight up. Being a good person is being a good person. Doesn't mean you're a religious person. That has nothing to fucking do with it. And as far as this episode, I saw nothing the fuck wrong. As a guy who is very straight, I know I'm very straight. I've been tested my whole life. They're all around me. I know I'm straight. And
You
so,
sure? Well, there's no surprise.
Just touch the dick. Just touch it.
If I have to pull that gene out, girlfriend, I can. But I don't. You know, I got the gene. It's just not activated. No, for real though. Like when I had to fast forward in a couple seasons, it was like, okay, this is a little bit too much. Like I don't want to see dudes making out. You know, that's just me.
Same here. I kind of looked away until I was done.
Yeah, I'm like,
all right.
You know what I mean? I'm cool.
You know,
Like
again, I'm kind of in this sphere, but I'm like, I don't want to see this. Like, but it's part of the story, and it was just
it
is what it is. Like
gratuitous about it. There was nothing gratuitous at all.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been. It's all Angus and I were thinking about is like it could have been far worse. It could have been like, thank God, all the straights are gonna die now, and we can do it the way we want here. And and oh my gosh, aren't gays so much better than straights? And here's our rainbow house. And it's like they could have just done all these horrible things. And so
he did want us to fix the boutique. What's this asshole saying?
He says, "What beats me because I'm an
beats me
atheist?
because
I'm typing
I'm
this from his basement. I'm cold and hungry. Send pizza."
Let's not take a truck, yo. I mean, if I was gonna have a gimp, it would be Tickle Trunk, you know, and maybe I'd tickle his balls, maybe a little bit of back kick.
Gonna ask for it. But yeah, it's like it could have been worse is all that I could think of. I was like, man, they could have just seriously had them totally out the wazoo and have a whole
It could have been painting a rainbow on the boutique
and somehow be going like we've somehow made a huge community with children and everything, and we're all just gay. And it's like, wait,
they're all butt babies, Rook.
And it's like, no, they didn't. It was just these two. They're still selfish in their own ways. Some people think they're assholes. And it's like, yeah, I can kind of see that. They don't. I mean, there's probably a lot of people that have walked into his traps and been killed, shot in the head.
Definitely.
Like Zombie did. And it's like people getting fried on the fences and stuff. It's like, yeah, I mean, that's what happens. He's not like an open invitation for everybody. I mean, it's lucky that Joel and Tess were able to live and have dinner with them or whatever.
Look, he just didn't tell Frank. When that shit happened, he didn't tell Frank, you know, because Frank was like,
not.
oh my God,
what
did you do?
You killed them. I invited them over for cupcakes. It's like, but that was the thing too. Frank's obviously the more gay one of the like more bottomish or something of it, but it's like
he's a power bottom.
But he's more like oh, he likes to design a little, but he's not like, oh my gosh, here we go either. He's still like a dude, like
he's
as far as it is. It's like the way I'd put it is they are characters who happen to be gay. They're not just like super obvious ones, which is rare to see these days.
I have known some homosexual men who are alpha as fuck. You would not know. You wouldn't guess. You wouldn't. What, you like Paul?
Dude,
you wouldn't even know.
I've had entanglements, and as Jada Pinkett would say, entanglements. With men, they're like afterward, they're like, no way, and I'm like, you can't typecast people. Like, you know, most people aren't stereotypes, and yeah, I'm very hetero focused, I guess, but like, yeah, the door will swing both ways if the mood's right, I guess.
All right, brother. Back kisses. This Angus. Look, if I get too drunk one time, just remember, give me a back kiss, okay? At least.
Well, I'll give you a gender check, all right?
God, yeah. No, absolutely.
That was nice. Is like, I don't look for, you know, like I'm totally fine with the heteronormative, you know, shows and whatnot.
Right.
Like that is the norm, and that's the way most people are. But also, it's irritating, this like homophobic quote unquote criticism, because it's like you've had federally instituted equality of marriage from the Supreme Court for like almost 10 years now, give or take.
Under a conservative president.
LGBTs for Trump, you know. That's why that's on the thumbnail, because like if Bill voted in this timeline, he probably would have voted for Trump if he even did vote. He's clearly conservative, libertarian, what have you. He's in like the feminist sphere. He's just gay, and it seems like maybe he didn't even really partake of that. He was just kind of to himself, and opportunity lined everything up for him for it to work finally. And so it's just like a nice, like, oh, he found something more to live for. And like that's nice, especially in an apocalyptic story, finding like hope. Like that's kind of the whole point of stories is something to think about, like, hey, even in the most dire of circumstance, like hope.
Right.
That's something to drive humanity. And this was nice.
It was a nice story,
angle.
yeah.
And it's irritating because there's people that, you know, like your moms or whatever, like they have kids, but then it's like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna be gay, or I am gay, whatever the case. There are people that lived hetero and are you know actually bi or whatever, and then you know partner the other way later on, and they have kids. Like there are kids in school that have moms or dads. This is just a reality. And when you act like you got to hide the children, it's like, you know, your kids probably go to school with someone that's got same-sex parents.
Like if you're talking about the New York fucking parades, which my mothers are disgusted at. You know, my mothers have said several times that like what the gay movement today is not the gay movement. They won their rights. Like that's the way she looks at it. We won our rights. We're married. We want it. We're accepted. We can go anywhere and do anything, and nobody's you know yelling lesbian at us. And my mom was gay. My mom was bisexual, and also let's not forget that some people go through very traumatic experiences with a member of the opposite sex that does not allow them to feel love or accept love or engage in it with people of that same sex. You know, women get raped violently, or you know, or in a bad situation, who are brought up in a bad situation where they are molested. They're probably going to be gay. How can they trust a dude? Same thing with men. If they go through a traumatic experience with a woman, I know if they're abused by a woman in their family, like whoever, they can be gay. Or you know, there's any number of you love who you love. First off, I hate this fucking separation, because you just love who you love, and it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. And anyone who goes, ooh, I swear to God, I'm telling you this fucking straight up truth, y'all, because I'm dealing with this shit right now. Dudes who are like, ew, that's gross, are closet sausages. And there's people out there that don't want to admit that they like what they like because they were brought up a certain way, or they were, you know, their religion tells them something, and it turns into aggression because they're not allowed to feel love the way that their sexual attraction, the way that they want to feel it, and they become aggressive assholes. This whole idea is anti-freedom. It is anti-individualistic. It is a gang mentality. When you have groups coming together, I don't care if it's to pick apart a point from somebody as simplistic as how they show love. You're a bigot, hands down. You are committing bigotry. Now, hey, you boo, you do you, boo. If you want to be a fucking asshole who's out there just hating on somebody because they pray different, they look different, they have sex, they feel love different, that's on you. You go ahead and you be that hateful piece of shit. But when it is the focal point of why this is bad, you got to hide your kids from seeing something because two people expressing love. Like, okay, first off, you have the right to decide what type of content you want them to watch. Do you want them to, you know, you have that choice. There are parental controls if you want to use it. You ain't gonna hide them from the internet forever, though, boo boo. So you have that power. But to just come to this Puritan fucking attitude, that story is being told the right way because they're not reflecting the love that I need reflected. You know what that is? That's the fucking type of mentality we've been fighting against these far leftists for the last few years. They don't think like us, so they're wrong. Everything needs to be projected the way that they see it. There's no room for gray or acceptance. If you become that static, you will become exactly what we've been fighting for all these last 4 or 5 years, and that's just the end of it.
Yeah, and like. Yeah, this whole concern is like, for me, the biggest thing is, yeah, it's definitely a trap by Hollywood.
It's a trap.
It's like,
it's
look, we gave you
double trap.
It's literally a Trumper on screen. We're signaling all these like white supremacy, quote unquote, signals with the imagery, and then he's gay, and oh look, you hate him though. It's woke. So why would I even serve you?
Yeah.
Because when I give you diversity that is organic and thought out and deep and complex, it's still woke.
I don't.
Some people are more upset that like like following The Last of Us, they want it to be more about Joel and Ellie or about
Okay.
zombies and stuff.
Okay,
Which
I
I'm like,
get that.
okay,
That's
like
valid.
Yeah, I get
valid.
that.
that's more understandable to me. But I also don't. In a way, it's like like for ones that want more zombie stuff specifically, it's like, okay, so when Marvel and Star Wars shows have a fight scene every freaking episode, is that what we need every episode? Really? Like, do we need to
Dude,
have
Walking Dead.
like
Yeah, like
zombies attack
when I
things
heard
every episode? Is that the
when
point?
I heard Joe Rogan a few months ago. So okay, Walking Dead. It was a show I watched up to season 2, and I'm like, this is fucking stupid. They're just stuck on a farm. This is annoying as fuck. They're going
You
nowhere.
didn't get past
And
the
then
farm?
because I was like, let me give the comic a try because Kirkman's pretty good with Invincible. So I started reading the comic, like, fuck, this is good. So I started watching the show in tandem with the comic. I'm like, fuck, this is great. And
Is it?
all the drama, and it's really the zombies is just a catalyst to tell these tribal stories. And it's really, if you boil it down, it's a kind of a socio-political like theory show. Negan versus Rick, that is Sparta versus Athens.
Yeah.
And it's really cool actually.
Yeah.
I look because Negan's kind of a Spartan if you boil it down, like his government system and his control and
Right.
whatnot and how they
He's a
work, how they
king.
operate. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Rick is like Cincinnatus repeatedly. He will become a dictator by merit because people do look up to him. And what do we do, Rick? And it's like, fuck, I don't want to do this. But
They
okay,
voted him into power.
I'm in charge. We're doing it. You wanted this. I'm doing it.
You're the
now.
cop.
Yeah. But he always like self-censors and gives up power, and he still tries to democratize reasonably. And so he's constantly redeeming when you think sometimes like, oh God, he's going mad. It's gonna, and God, the show's so good. And when Rogan was talking about like, oh, it's so stupid because like zombies are just stupid as fuck. Like these zombies in the show, and I agree. And some of the deaths are convenient for drama, but like that's not the actual hook of the show. It's all the human drama with this element in play. And yeah, so seeing a show like this where it's complex, it's not just the stupid fucking zombies, even though this is
the kid kills his
cooler
mom because
science
she's
to the
turned
zombie.
into a zombie, right? And then like that's a dramatic moment, not because she's a zombie, because the kid had to kill his mom, like, right? Isn't that The Walking Dead?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
there's an element where it becomes like, oh, everyone that is alive
Whoa.
now has this like suppressed trait that, when you die you're going to zombify, so you have to like blow your head off, and Carl has to kill his mom after she dies.
Yeah, which is like that's a like the zombie stuff creates that type of moment, but it's not about look at all the zombies we have to deal with, huh? Because that gets
it's about
boring.
the hard
even
decisions.
Even in a movie that can get freaking boring as hell if you're just zombies everywhere. There's zombies. Look at those, huh? It's like, yeah, them themselves aren't that interesting. It's more what situation does that create with them and other people. Like that's what that's supposed to do.
So
go ahead.
Oh, go on, author.
Well, that's a great way to tell story. I mean, how many movies can you do that isn't Cesar Romero that's about the zombies? Like the zombies are the story around them is cool, but it's the situation that's created. Being able to tell, using that setting to tell a story, because you first off you get the apocalyptic angle to it, which is always fun. People, survival. And the character building itself in that world is, I think, innate in humans. What would you do if you were put in that situation? What if you had to survive? And it's interesting to me that we have that character, Bill, who is, look, I don't get paranoid, probably, had a few issues in his head. Yes, but he was prepared. That's an alpha. He had it all ready to go. And you show this character who's tough, masculine. That's some masculine fucking attributes that he showed. And now all of a sudden, he's tossing salads. So what? And that pisses everybody off. Like I said, that is reflective of real world. There are a lot of men out there. I've met men out there where they have hit on me, and I'd be like, "Oh, really?" Because they were just big masculine guys. It wasn't a dig at like it could be construed as a dig, being the character itself saying, you know, like you could say, well, Hollywood's pointing the finger at us and saying we're like that. You showed us that a little bit of projection, you know.
But then why would they want us to feel sympathy for them? Like,
connect with your inner gay, Rook. It's
like, I don't know. It's like if people are trying to make these points, it contradicts it. I think whatever points are being made practically, because it's there's a lot of things being achieved there, and yeah, they're not the kindest people necessarily. The only people they seem to have spared was Joel and Tess. The rest they killed. Like.
Yeah, Bill takes shit, right? He's a psychopath. There's a little
they could have had like a little stable community maybe of people with all the supplies and efficiency there, but no, it's just for them. So
yeah, I mean, so this is an article they're talking about that goes hand in hand with what we're saying. So this is people like, look, we're right. It's just a forced diversity. All right, so Last of Us episode 3 director reveals the secret meaning behind the last shot. Last of Us episode 3 is shocking. Not only was it a huge deviation from the previous episode's commitment to adapting the video game source material, but it's also the first time someone other than the showrunners directed an episode. The honor fell to It's a Sin and Umbrella Academy director Peter Hoare. What an awful name. Peter Hoare. Who brought the standalone story of Bill and Frank's love story to life with stars Nick Offerman, hail Ron Swanson, and Murray Bartlett. Even in September 2021, when episode 3 was filmed, the director knew the importance of the task ahead of him. I was blessed to be able to do it. I couldn't believe it had come to me. I just didn't want to let anybody down. Of course, there was a huge relationship between the two men. A gay man himself, the love story was especially poignant. I had just come from It's a Sin, where 5 boys were experiencing the AIDS crisis in the UK.
Hold on, real quick. Oh, wait, Peter Hoare is gay? I just wanted to make sure Peter Hoare is gay.
Peter Hoare or Peter Hole, it's the same.
Oh, okay, all right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I hadn't realized how much of a voice I had, how many people are listening. The community was so wonderful about the whole show. Now it's happening, and now it's just the Alphabet community, but the Last of Us community, which I also belong to. Hoare spoke to the universe about directing the heartbreaking love story of Bill and Frank, The Last of Us Season 2, and the secret meaning behind the episode's final shot. What was the biggest challenge in directing such a unique episode? I've been asked if I guess I was worried about it being so different from the game. I just read Craig's scripts. They're so good, so clever, and so warm that I actually forgot that it was so different. It was only really when Bill is shot and you think, oh God, it's Bill. That's going to go. It's not Frank, it's Bill. And then the very next scene is Frank on the porch in a wheelchair. You're thinking so hard about what happened and how it happened and what happens next. And then suddenly they're quite old. I think I forgot that we were in a completely different scenario to the game, and I just went with it. I never worried that it was different. Neil was the first person that said, not to me, but to the world, I'm not sure that the fans will like episode 3 because it's very, very different. I was like, oh no, don't say that, Neil.
God, Neil, don't. Shut the fuck up, Neil. You could. Oh, sorry.
Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett are both amazing actors, but they're most famous for their comedic roles. So how did you approach directing them through such an emotional and dramatic storyline? They were both so keen to do right by it. Murray totally committed, but as a gay man playing a gay man, this was not a new idea for him. It was emotionally driven and emotionally taxing for him, but he was playing a character that he understood and knew.
I mean, that's a good casting then, right?
For Nick, it was very much a different person, but at the same time, we didn't get Nick Offerman to not have some of him in it as well, because that is Bill. Bill is complicated. I would definitely argue that Bill doesn't come across as a gay man. It's a little less binary than that. He is a man who never really discovered himself. He lived in a world of mistrust. He lived with his mother for a certain long number of years. She then died, and he had the house. He pulled himself away from society. He was never going to naturally discover who he was to fall in love with or who he found attractive until Frank came along. Even then, it wasn't just about being a man. It was because he was Frank. It was because Frank is Frank. I felt like it was about making sure to keep reminding them of that. It's not as complicated. Go on.
Like, honest to God, like if Frank was Susan, the story could have been the exact same. As far as like the character itself, he needed someone in his life. It just happened to be a dude.
Yeah.
It's not as complicated, perhaps, as it sounds. It's about heart and love and truth. They are kind and gentle to each other. Middle-aged men falling in love, you don't get that all the time. So I think
Thanks.
that was nice.
Appreciate that inverse. Fuck you. That's great.
They're just professionals. They didn't need much help and guidance other than just feeling good every day about what we were doing. Sometimes you have to sort of trick the rest of the world into watching these things before they're like, oh my God, it was two guys. I just realized. I think then they might understand that it's all real. It's just the same love.
Yeah, when they say trick, I don't interpret that as that's the agenda. They're trying to get us. No, they're trying to do the things and
that's
propaganda.
So this clip is the angle people are taking. Like they tricked us to watch the gay.
No, I see it as it's like, okay, anytime you show anything that is explicitly gay, you go, no, fuck that, no. So like, okay, so it's like, let's have it be as like normal as possible, like they're like as if they're trying to handicap themselves for what they want to do something that would work for a different audience, and you know what I mean. That's what that kind of feels like, and so they did, and that's what happened.
No, you know what, Papa? Honestly, the part of the episode where I was like, all right, now this is gay, is when Frank was running down the list of shops that he wanted to fix, and he said, "And the boutique." I said, "All right, here we go."
Yeah, I think he didn't need to mention that. He could have just
kept that to him.
Could have left that part out, and then
put it back in the closet. Yeah, dude. So some things you don't take out the closet.
That would have been funny if Nick Offerman. That'd be funny if Nick Offerman's like, God, you're such a fag.
Right. The perfect gay relationship. That's exactly what the fuck would have happened. Trust me.
I know Angus had a good point too, where it's like Nick Offerman's character could be like, dude, no, we don't want things to look fresh in our town because then people might think that we're actively living here all the time. Like, if they just see, oh, look at those bright houses over there, isn't that great that they just recently painted that? Let's try to go in and take their shit. Like, how about let's have it look a little more rusty? That would probably work better.
Angus, I cannot thank you for that comment, brother, because I cannot tell you how many times my mother has looked over at Mom Judy when Judy has done something and gone, "You are such a fag." That's a normal thing in my house.
We get our quotes like that from the wonderful Mel Gibson in his roles, where he says that line a few times in movies he's in.
I love Mel Gibson's homophobia. Like it was like a year ago. There was some Jew on Twitter that was trying to like, Mel Gibson's an enemy. He's a homophobe, and he's like listing all these interviews and quotes and things and complaints. And there was one Spanish interview. They asked him something about gay marriage or something, and he points to his ass and he told him before, "This is for shitting only." And it's just like, I love Mel Gibson, like fucking hilarious. It's like you don't have to agree with them, or like, I totally understand his point of view being trying to be a devout Catholic, and like this is amoral because sex is all about procreation in the Christian viewpoint. I totally understand that. I disagree.
Steaks, everybody, we're burning people tonight. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I disagree. I think, intelligence, like all the intelligent animals have sex like year round to some degree. Dogs, dolphins, whales, etc. Like, I think once you hit an intelligence threshold, that sex is no longer just about procreation. And I think that's the problem we have in humanity, is because we got these dogmas that cling to that, which is kind of tied to like ownership theory and whatnot. And
definitely,
it's like just you think of science because you're like, it's unnatural to fuck a butt, and it's like, well, like why is the P spot? Why is there the P spot? Like the best way to stimulate a man is to reach in his asshole. That's how they milk guys. If you need a sample.
It's unnatural to fuck a butt.
God made the P spot. The people's like, look, a banana was made for humans by God because it fits perfectly in our hand. It's like, well, a penis fits perfectly in an asshole.
They're gonna say because the banana's shaped like a penis.
Yeah,
Angus, you are making me question evolution, man. How many generations upon generations upon generations of dudes have been getting ass raped for that to have developed? I'm just wondering.
Well, yeah, you might, like gender roles and like the gender binary of our bodies, like this is evolutionary. And talking about nature and stuff, it's like women only ovulate like 3 days a month. but they can fuck even on their period when they're infertile for that.
Yeah, they can.
Most of the month, women are like not going to produce a baby, but we can have sex all year round. And so, like, clearly, it's mainly for bonding, not for like procreation is now a side effect of sex, not the point. Like cows, like rudimentary animals have sex during mating season, and then they have the babies in like usually the spring or whatever. So, like, I get irritated when you actually think about nature and science, and it's like, well, like, how does that add up? Because
There's like gay in nature too.
not well, yeah, like I try to distance justifying, like, I don't like to use to justify homosexuality, like, oh well, like dogs hump each other. It's like, like I try to steer from it. I do pull from nature, but I try to stick with like humanity, and it's like, all right, this is our biology. And so, well, because people are like, well, the deflection by religious, like, well, God made us, and this.
Okay,
and that,
anybody who's deflecting religiously can go put a sock in it when you're talking about actual human condition. Okay, sorry, guy. I love y'all. Respect all your beliefs. I have my own dogmas.
It's hedging the argument in their favor, and I'm still going to, like, in my view, defeat you.
No,
like,
it's not in their
I'll
favor.
argue in your plane, and I still disagree.
Well, like, look at it. I'm sorry. We're animals, guys. Just because we have an opposable thumb and we have the ability to think critically, we're still animals. We're a part of the animal kingdom, and in the animal kingdom, there's a lot of butt humping going on. Okay, I'm not saying chicks, but I don't do that with the dudes. It is. It's a natural state. It's always been an aberration of nature, of different animals, fine, keep it to human beings. It has always existed. There's been variations of sexuality, how a person translates themselves, and you can break it down to genetics. All right, maybe they were cooked a little different in the womb, but we're all built different.
If gay was unnatural, if it's it would have been bred out after like the first gays existed, because they're not breeding, but it's still here. It's constantly here because it is a recessive trait. It's a recessive orientation. There is an outlier of X amount percentage that will be gay or bi. I think there's probably a lot more bi, especially in men. There's a lot more bisexuality that's just closeted because of social stigmas.
Yes,
but straight women can make out and have sex and still be called straight,
right,
with each other.
Well, like, women are pliable, but men are a lot more rigid with sexuality.
As Red Gaze popularly puts it, though, it depends. All right, really, if you're the giver, according to gays and many others, if you're the giver, it's not gay. So if you're the top, if you're being served, you're okay, guys. Just want to let you know what Red Gaze says.
Yeah, see, like, it's kind of like the whole trap argument, like, are traps gay? And it's like, well, like, I'm very confident in myself, so it's like, I don't care if it's gay. It's awesome.
And I'm glad that you have that opportunity. I look at
that's what I try to put out in the world. It's like, I'm not virtue signaling, pride flag, any of that shit. I'm trying to be someone in my little sphere of people hearing. It's like, well, you know what? I am kind of closeted, or I've thought this, but I'm scared to try or adventure. Maybe you won't be gay or anything, but you have an experiment. And it's like, I just want to be someone that's like a confident voice for men to be like, hey, quit worrying about society. If you're really going to be an alpha male, you don't care what the social stigmas are. You do you.
Rookie, I need you to do me a favor. If the Eagles win the Super Bowl and I go out to Angus's to celebrate, I get drunk. And all right, I'm just, the way he's talking is like, he's like, just try it. Let it happen.
I mean, I'm a good on the other side of the country, so not much I can do to intervene.
Give me a call.
Okay, I'll give you a rope, but I think it only goes 30 feet. So
no, for real. Yeah, but you're right. You're absolutely right, dude. And I think that a lot of that repressed attitude, I think, has led to a lot more harm than good. Person is not allowed to express how they feel love or what they are attracted to, then they're going to feel isolated and alone. Being isolated and alone causes people to become lone wolves, and people that develop mental health issues and problems. I guess the whole reason for the gay rights advancement was be accepted for who you are, feel, how you want to feel. Now, The other end of that is the extreme, because the pendulum always swings. We are now in
the
an era.
hedonism. Yeah,
Right,
that's the
hedonism.
problem with the gay community, is that it's been such a repressed thing. You're in the closet. It's opportunistic. It's, oh, you've been abused or in prison or whatever, and so it's always like a facet of degeneracy at the view, and
I think
the
it also has to do with
partaking.
it also has to do with a Puritan attitude.
Yeah, and definitely stigmas hindering that. But I think long term, it might be something where it's like, all right, this is kind of accepted, tolerated, what have you. And so you're going to see the same kind of in the community. It's like, yeah, there's like the whores, there's the sluts and the gays, but like there's the gays. It's like, oh, they built a family, or what, a unit. They're nuclear, they're stable, they're monogamous. And then you won't, like, I think some of these stigmas are the hedonism factor that is the easy generalized stereotype, is because of the repression. And once it like is normalized and a non-factor, they'll blend in like everybody else. We're like, yeah, they're gay, and that's like a minority in humanity, but they're just as monogamous as the heteros.
Men traditionally for thousands of years are not meant to be monogamous. You could choose to be monogamous. They're not meant to be. And women are hardwired
for our society, the West.
And women have been hardwired to fight for that prime or that alpha bitch spot. All right. So you can keep a group of bitches locked in a bunch of fighting for you. You know what I mean? And because a dude is not monogamous. But we're not built. You can choose to be, but we're not hardwired to be like that. That's why you have the part of the fear mongering comes from the Puritan attitude of, well, he's my man, and we're in a marriage, and this is the way it's supposed to be. Like, well, yeah, but you're fighting genetics. You're fighting innate human traits. Like, I mean, I say what you want about the Muslims, but they got it right there. It's just what it is. It's a lot of the hate that comes toward gay communities or alternative lifestyles, because I've known people that lived in alternative lifestyles, like 3 people in a relationship, 4 people, that whole thing, swingers, all that. I've been in kind of on the edge or through some of those communities or had friends in them, and it's worked. It works for them. They just feel differently. They translate love and connection differently than others. We are built different.
Wait, am I still? It's all quiet now.
So any person, when and coming to where I am now in life, whenever I see someone use the Puritan, the religious argument for something, it's automatic dogma to me. That doesn't make sense. You're coming from a position of bigotry. You feel how you're good to feel how you want to feel. You have the values you want to have. Support the values that you want to. Absolutely, that's freedom. But when pointing the finger, blaming someone, calling them degenerate, I mean, there's a difference between hedonism and degeneracy and living how you want to live. Living, where if no one in that situation is being caused harm, there is no harm in that situation. It's the labeling that pisses me off, and it's a button that has been pressed, guys, since about 2012. Because if y'all remember, the Christian conservatives calmed the fuck down for a while. They really calmed down. It had been like, I don't know, 8 years since I had a Bible or somebody scream at me on SEPTA when I was going through Philly because I wore a pentacle. It had been a while. People were accepting one another. And then all of a sudden, this transgender bathroom debate started. Out of nowhere, let's hit a hot button issue. Let's use something that most people do not confront because it's less than 1% of the world population, and put this high suicide minority group up in the forefront and use them as a cudgel to beat people over the head and start creating anger and division between groups. Because a lot of Christians had chilled the fuck out. And that's what they did. They whipped up. And that's why all this woke shit has happened. That's why we're getting this far left wave. That's why we have in our entertainments and our politics, because it pisses people off. It's nonsense. It's fucking nonsense. Non-binary people, they're called gender fluid. They've always fucking existed. They've been around. You can read fucking books that were written 3,000 fucking years ago, manuscripts or tablets, where those types of people existed. Let's throw a new name on it, act like it's new, make people feel empowered for something crazy that most people won't understand, so we can point at them and say they got mental illness, and all you're doing is generating hate on all sides. I hate these labels. When I see people being so contradictory as to, yes, we're reviewing this entertainment, we are reviewing this TV show, we are reviewing this or whatever it is, and we have been conditioned. It's not entirely our faults, but some of us really allowed it. We have been conditioned to automatically point at something and go, oh my God, that's woke. If this is a side story, if it wasn't a part of the game, like I get it. I'm not coming from the game perspective. I'm coming at it from what I saw. It was a large part of it. If I didn't know any better, I would have thought that Frank and Bill were going to be around for the rest of the damn series. That's how much time they spent on it. But I did not see anything woke, and I was not offended at a great storytelling of a person who actually found himself and found love through someone else. Didn't matter if it was a man or a woman. And when it became too long-winded in Lifetime, yeah, I sighed and went, come the fuck on. But it wasn't offensive. Anyone who thinks that's offensive, you just get back in your house and go yell at the fucking paint on the wall, because that's how much sense you make. Sorry, I had to rant.
Well put. No, that's well put. I like it. Yeah, let's continue this. See if there's any more tidbits of triggering that they tricked us. So they ask, the last shot of the episode lingers on the window. Was that a reference to the last shot of Last of Us Part 2? And he says, I wouldn't know that, but my director of photography would, because he has played it. Two things are going on with that shot. When you play the original game, there was a menu screen and it has a window with a breeze. That's where you select play game or whatever. There was a discussion with Craig where that might be something that we try and emulate. We would put it at the beginning of every episode. I think it was a gimmick, really. But if you're on HBO Max, you could see it and click on it and then watch it. Once he described it to me, I thought it was going to be at the beginning of the episode, and I thought it doesn't work at the beginning of my episode because they're out and about now. They aren't near a window, but at the end of the episode, we are there. Obviously, we see Joel and Ellie disappear off into the sunset, but I wanted a last one with Bill and Frank, and I didn't know how else to do it. But if you pull back through their window, see the flowers that have died, which is also heartbreaking, and one of Frank's pictures on the wall. I just thought that was our last moment. We're actually.
I wanted to see Joel open that door and see two corpses. I wanted to see Corpse Frank with his head on Corpse Bill's balls. That's what I wanted to see. Yeah, deep throating zombie, just increpid, everything. I wanted to see Bill's tip coming through the back of Frank's devolving. Or, I'm sorry, decrepit throat. You know what I mean? Okay. You want to give me gay? Give me gay.
What was it like working with Bella and Pedro for the beginning and end of the episode? Both of them are stunning human beings, but they were finding their way. Episode 2 was shot after episode 3. They had just begun to discover their relationship. They hadn't had that experience trying to escape Boston. They hadn't seen Tess give her life. They hadn't done any of that. It was interesting because I think they were still understanding each other, understanding how that relationship was going to work. Not only did I get to do this fantastic episode, but I also did the shot where they looked out at the plane wreck, which became the first teaser image of the entire series. I'm like, oh my God, that's me. And then not only that, I got a shot behind them walking down this road, and he had his gun over his shoulder and little tiny Ellie next to him wandering along. I was like, this is the game. I'm doing it. This is fantastic. Do you think episode 3 will go for Linda Ronstadt, what Stranger Things did for Kate Bush?
I don't give a shit.
Yeah. I knew who it was when he was playing. I'm like, fuck, Linda Ronstadt. There's like that Texas song she did. I'm just like, fuck. I remember this shit growing up as a kid. It was like fucking country.
That point where, like, I honestly think that some of this show was well done because he was so against her playing any music, he wasn't even listening to it. And then once he allowed himself to relax, then he was like, oh, no, wait, that's Linda Ronstadt. You know, like, that's good storytelling. You notice that it shows how much he is fighting his innate nature to be protective of this girl. Just side note, since we brought up Linda Ronstadt,
yeah,
I just think it's good storytelling, Angus.
Yeah, let me see. So they asked, did you see all the critics talking about episode 3 when the reviews were released? I did get a feeling, yeah. I was very proud of the episode. Craig Mazin, who already won an Emmy, was saying, oh my God, Paul, this episode is the best. He wrote it. He deserves all the credit, but he kept saying, this is going to be so good. This is just going to be so good. People are going to love this.
We're still
I hate saying this.
We're still talking to Peter Hoare, right? Peter Hoare? That's okay. Just want to make sure. Thank
you. I hate saying this because it feels very egocentric, but he was like, I think you'd better get a tuxedo because I think you're going to be going to the Emmys. But that was September 2021. And then we come around to now when the show is being loved and adored and respected. The Guardian over here never give good reviews to video game shows, and they give it 5 stars. I'm absolutely thrilled. I totally believed in it, and I loved making it. So yeah, that's mostly just talking about the episode, but there's that one snippet in there that people are like harping on, like they tricked us with the gay. It was all purpose, it's agenda. And it's like, here's the thing: these characters are in the game. Now, if you want to argue that this is not true to the game, because in the game there's a reveal in a shop or whatever, some building, that Frank left a letter for Bill where it's like, I always hated you, and you're stuck in your ways and this and that. And so they're kind of a begrudging couple in the game. And so yeah, no, they changed it. But the people that are harping on that are the same people that will say, well, yeah, they're race swap game of House of Dragon Valerians, but the creator of them was okay with it or encouraged it, so that's fine. And so, like, Neil Druckmann's part of this creative team making the show. He's the guy who wrote the games, and so he wants to do something different with the creatives of the show. So it's his liberty. Now, yeah, if you don't like it because you're a purist, you want it just like the game. But yeah, still, regardless, there are 2 gay characters in the game. And so when you're saying don't let your kids see this, because it's like, well, if you like the game, this is part of the game.
Okay, so one, Druckmann is a lightning rod. All right, Mr. Cuckman said a lot of dumb shit, and some channels were built.
Yes.
Tens of thousands of subs were built off of F The Last of Us 2, which I get. That was a great fun time, and I from what I understand of it, agree with the issues that were taken. But I'm not a fan of the game, so I kind of stayed out of that mostly. So I think that in part you have a community that's already built in to hate this, just off the bat. And Druckmann, like I said, that's the problem. That's the issue with some of these creators, either making choices and saying they're making them in order to annoy others, or just saying reckless shit on Twitter. Y'all need to Hollywood game industry, please just have no social media. Make your people responsible for their social media and enforce that shit. Because, like I said, I enjoyed this episode, walked into it, saw the actors that were involved, which is why I hadn't watched it in the first place, and the controversy from Last of Us 2. I didn't want to be involved in that. I didn't even want to like this. I ended up liking this episode. And when I saw those actors, first thing I thought of was dumb shit that comes out of their mouth. We're hardwired to hate this shit. And they know that. This was a trap. It was a trap. It was absolutely a trap.
I wish I would have thought of that, because I had fun doing the Pearl Harbor bombing Bill and Frank for the thumbnail. But damn, I wish I would have thought of Akbar for this.
I am so using Akbar. Angus, do I have your permission to take a couple clips of this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because
yeah, I want to address the chat from earlier while we we're talking. So Tickle Trunk says he said somewhere. Where'd it go? Sorry, I had to scroll back up. He said something about we're socially monogamous. We're mostly monogamous. And then Stony Mick says hard to disagree. The overwhelming majority of societies are monogamous because monogamy is genetic, because it's a good strategy in most situations. So I've been in like some anthropology classes when I used to do college and stuff, and I like to learn about different sciences in my spare time on like YouTube and stuff. And what's interesting is that monogamy is kind of a norm.
Mm-hmm.
So besides, like, if you're thinking like cavemen, besides like the chieftain or the shaman, if he is sexual and not like celibate for his calling, if that is like an implicit thing in that scope, monogamy is the de facto of tribal societies. And it's kind of goes with like resource sharing. So like,
well, yeah, I get that.
If you're a hunter gatherer type of tribe, like Polynesians, or whatever, it's hard to like have multiple wives, and then more kids from multiple wives, because resources are finite. But once you get agriculture, that's when like marriage kind of becomes like a institution in society. And then you get religion tied into it as well, and laws. And so it's like a storm of different facets creating the society of enforced monogamy, unless you're rich and then you can like get away with it and be polyamorous. But generally, yeah, it actually is kind of a norm for us to be monogamous.
And people don't cheat all the time.
No, I'm not saying that there isn't cheating and that it's easy to think because women get pregnant, they are the monogamous ones or whatever. But no, humans in general are wired to be cheaters, and we're kind of fighting that. And that's where you get like religion and society stigmas to kind of counter that. But yeah, like we are animals that want to fuck, and
Yes.
it's all this like balancing act of our animal selves with our societal selves and how complex the society is and resources available. So it's a messy thing. But no, I wanted to address that. So
I love you.
what I know, what I've learned.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, me and Ricky talk about this a lot.
Yeah, so a lot of this is like we've already talked. So it's
okay,
like,
all right. Well, you want to move forward into something else then?
Tim's talk.
What's up, Tim's talk? Hell, brother.
Timothy.
Yeah, I'm just happy that I have
a lot of the beef. You've missed a lot of the beef, Tim.
We'll give you more beef to chew on.
We're full on Arby's tonight.
Arby's, yeah, that's a great reference. Like, I like how he says like, and this isn't Arby's. It's like,
how's that not part
Arby's?
How's that not part of your slogan of we have the beef or whatever, right? Wasn't that?
That's just something I never thought of. Honestly, I don't like Arby's.
I guess it's too on the nose too.
Well, it's like I don't like Arby's, so.
I mean, they have like a good sandwich sometimes.
No,
people think
Arby's sucks. It's all roast beef. It's like Taco Bell. There's nothing new at Taco Bell. It's just they package stuff differently.
Yeah,
so like the Mexican pizza is just a double stack tostada. It's not new. It's just
the same for
it's
like
a gimmick.
A million years.
It's a gimmick.
And you eat Subway all the
and so
time.
Arby's, it's all fucking roast beef. Besides if they have like cranberry chicken salad, and it's like, whoa, that's a different thing. Cool, yummy. Or like
KFC
the Jamocha shake.
Chicken. What's the problem with that?
No, that's the thing. It's like they have their wheelhouse, and I'm fine with that. But I don't like warm roast beef sandwiches with au jus and cheese. Like it's not. Au jus the beef broth, the dipping sauce.
It sounds like a chew, but not a chew.
I keep thinking beef curtains.
Asian person.
I think it might be Swedish. I don't know.
I'm part Swedish, but I never talk like this.
Arby's does have good fries. Arby's, Wendy's, McDonald's.
Their curly fries are fucking great.
Checkers.
I don't like those.
They all got good different fries. I actually really like McDonald's fries, and surprisingly, they're actually McDonald's does a lot of fake shit and garbage, but like their fries are actually just pretty simple. But they
salt on potatoes. Yeah,
they
salt.
They treat it at the factory when they're making it. They treat it with like a sugar water, so that's like a coating embedded in it.
I could never get addicted to McDonald's fries. They're just whatever.
They're so good until they're not fresh. And it's like I don't like potatoes generally. I'm a sweet potato guy.
Oh my god!
By my house called Bless Your Heart Burger. I was like, is that like why is it called Bless Your Heart? Is it like all vegan or is it like a religious?
No, it's because if you eat it, you're going to get a fucking coronary.
Well, no, I would agree with that if its meat was like a big burger, but it's like tiny ass burgers, and I was like, well, I mean, the patty was just skinny, and I'm like, it was like $15 for a burger, fry, a small fry, and a small drink, and I was like, $15. Jesus Christ, that's an hour of work just to that, and I'm like, if the burger was like had more beef on it, like I'd maybe be like, okay, yeah, it's good, it tasted fine, but it wasn't like. I could rather have Burgerville. It's more worth it, I guess. Like the fries were less. The fries were less than McDonald's, but I feel like other places have better fries than McDonald's. But that's just me,
Oh, so what's interesting? Let me pull it up. I think I tweeted this.
Are we getting into the meme area, or is that?
Well, yeah, you can get some memes ready, but
Sherry mentioned feet. What's
okay,
going on here?
let me see. Let me share this. All right, so Grace Randolph says, the reason I suggested a trans character for # Paradise Lost, if you don't know, Paradise Lost is the name for the Wonder Woman project that's being made at DC with James Gunn.
That will not have Wonder Woman in it. It's going to be
Paradise Lost is because if you're going to explore women as a group, and with Wonder Woman's strong LGBT fandom, adding trans characters to the discussion makes perfect sense. Saga did a really good job with this. Saga, what I've read, is an awesome comic, by the way. But the fact that she's like, if you're going to explore women as a group, you need to have a trans character. And I said, I'm waiting to get blocked. I said, I thought men couldn't be on Themyscira.
Yo, I need to know where this tweet is. Can you link it to my messages? Because I need to gender check this bitch. What the fuck is she talking about? What is she talking about? They would get killed. A tranny would get... No, don't do that to the trannies.
They've added that to the new woke DC shit. And
I don't know about that new woke DC shit.
So what? So yeah, I was telling Walton, like, yeah. So I'm gonna be talking about homophobia in our sphere with The Last of Us criticism, but I'll balance it because I'll be talking about, like, I didn't foresee this. This was a newer thing, but also we talking about the Star Wars drag shit, and so it's a balance. Like, yeah, I don't like homophobia, but I kind of draw the line at some point with this alphabet spectrum.
Yeah, we do have limits sometimes.
But yeah, I sent it to you, Walton.
I'm sending that gender check gif.
Oh my god, yeah. Let me look this up. The Star Wars drag.
Oh yes, I got some
Star Wars
memes
drag.
going.
Hold on. What? Where are we going now?
Have you not heard of that, Steven?
Oh my god. Okay, so
Oh,
now,
well, breaking news for you.
Bro, what's it about?
Well, hold on. Well, let me know when you find that, Angus, because I got some memes ready for us.
yeah, show us some memes.
And so I just saw this today. Apparently, there's trans community is upset over the month of February being about Black history instead of them, which does not entirely surprise me with stuff. But then just came across there. Celebrities call for total Hollywood strike until every last person gets jabbed. Now, do you think they mean Hollywood's not going to make anything, or they until like everybody in America is jabbed? Like, what do you think?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, brother.
I'm
sorry, brother. I was gender checking. What happened?
Of course, I don't agree with fucking Hollywood. So, it's worth like talking about these idiotic actors and their stances, like the jab and whatnot. But at the same time, I try to, like, with the Pedro thing, we're like, Pedro's a piece of shit, but he's a great actor and he's doing great in the shows, doing great as Mando. So, like, I'll give him his credit. And ultimately, that's his role. He is an actor. He's doing great for his job. And it's just unfortunate that he has to, like, virtue signal for, like, the was it him or Ruffalo? It's like, oh, poor Jojo, the, like, pedophile got killed by Rittenhouse for chasing him down. Like,
Right. One, I have no idea.
It's like, no, I totally will facepalm and laugh at these people, but at the same time, it's like, well, their actual job, they're great. So
celebrities call for this is ridiculous. You know what I read? Celebrities call for total genocide unless every last person takes the sacrament. Like, what? That's what I say.
Pretty much. But it's funny that they think that we can't live without them if that's the case. Like, Hollywood on strike. Okay, we'll be fine. Well, they'll just be more support for independent shit at that point. So
they're not quitting. These are a bunch of bullshitters, Rook, and you know it. They're always. How many times have they going to leave America?
Oh, I know. I just find it funny that celebrities call for Hollywood strike until every last person gets jabbed.
Great.
And then they go back to making their movies because they're not going to actually stop because they like.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. They're dancing monkeys. They're getting paid way too much money to go dance and entertain people. What you think does not matter. People that place so much importance on these actors. There are very far and few between. You will come across an actor with a really good mind. Someone who says things of worth, and everyone else in between. No, I don't give a shit what you say. Please shut up.
Actually, Ricky, I got this great meme that fucking killed me. Someone AI generated Donald Trump's voice, and this is about Last of Us. It's it killed me. This is hilarious. Let me share it.
Go ahead.
All right, full screen this.
Can you believe this, folks? Can you believe this? They turned Ron Swanson. You remember him? Manly man, big and strong, patriotic. So anyway, they turned Ron Swanson into a total fag. I mean,
Yes, yes.
unbelievable.
You said the line.
Unbelievable what
That's
woke
great.
culture is doing to this country. If Ron Swanson is going to be prancing around with his husband like a homo, then I don't know what to believe. I mean, how does that work? How is it supposed to work, folks? There are no pharmacies for these two guy
Hear your
lovers
homophobia.
to get their gay drugs. The gay drugs, they don't have them, folks. And they need them for their gay-related immune deficiency. They call it grids. And Fauci invented it back in the 80s. Did you know that? Anyways, you know, they call it the last of us, but it's more like the last penis in us.
Oh shit!
I reply like, "Are you trying to kill me?" This is too funny. I'll send that
great.
to you too. But yeah,
That's
continue,
fucking great.
Ricky.
Oh my god, that's hard to follow up now. This has been our finale.
They don't have their gay drugs.
Gay-related immune deficiencies.
Call it grids. Fauci invented it in the 80s.
That's so good.
It's funny because dude, it's like we just watched the South Park where what's it? Tweak is freaking out at every tweet by Trump about Korea. And so like it's funny because it's like, yeah, it's totally fake, but it's like it's just real enough that it's so funny because it's like, oh, I could give enough time. Yeah, Trump might tweet that. That's funny. Like,
well, it's funny, right now there's like a Chinese spy balloon over America or some shit. So people are like, "Oh fuck God, oh fuck God."
Oh, that's what Papa sent in the chat. I'm like, please explain this because I'm totally lost. I get that it's like a Jew satellite, but I don't know the
It's
connection.
the Chinese Jew satellite. So, just so you know, I was gonna play this, but I don't know if you'll get.
No,
hit,
play
so.
it, whatever it is.
Show them to me. Unclassy broad, set those puppies free.
Wait,
God
sorry.
bless.
Sorry, I had to pull it just because the music. So mute it and play it.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome.
Are we gonna see?
Thank you.
Are we gonna see tits?
Unfortunately, no. But I thought the song was kind of funny. Baby, I'm sure you'll agree. You got two fun bags.
Mm-hmm.
Show them to me.
Come on, girl.
Like, nah. It's like a heartfelt kind of
brave.
song. I don't care if they don't match or one's bigger than the other. You can show me one, and I'll imagine the other.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Even if they're really old, there's nothing wrong. Don't be sad. Your boobs ain't bad. They're just a little long. Show them to me. That's like a little boob song.
that's great.
That's great. I love
Free the
it. Speaking of
honey.
boobs,
You're
speaking of boobs, let me see.
Booby time. Yeah, thank you for the booby time one. There's we like to cleanse it sometimes with some cute little animals. Got a cute panda just chomping away. You like pandas, Walton?
Yeah, don't they eat and not fuck? Like,
Yeah, pandas need to die. They are genetically deficient.
They're
Evolution
literally held
is
up by
taken.
our
Literally, the Communist Party of China is sustaining these abominations to the environment.
oh, that's not a Chinaman. I'm sorry.
It's to fight America.
Was that racist?
They're recruiting these. They're recruiting
Yeah,
these to
and I
fight
like
in
it.
the war. They're recruiting pandas to fight in the war. Okay, that's.
I want to see mutated pandas, Rook. I want to see with like battle armor and like like cybernetic augments. That would be so badass.
That would be something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this was a clip from a movie called Blahabba Hoobity, something like that. It's like it's a Bollywood. Looks very similar to RRR, which apparently is Rise, Roar, Revolt, which that sounds better than RRR because it sounds
I've heard
hard
great
going.
things about that.
I saw RRR. It's actually pretty good, but there's a lot of shit in it that I'm like, what the fuck? Like, there's like random dancing and singing and stuff, and
Well, that's what those people do. They're the brothers of the Caucasian race. We let it go.
But then there's like other shit that's like super masculine and cool. I was like, what the fuck? That's tight. Oh shit. And so this is like another movie. I guess I'll mute it so you don't get hit there. They're gonna invade a castle, and they climb on a tree. A couple soldiers here.
Of course.
It's like, all right, here's your shield. Nice catch. Okay, here we go. We're all right. Let us loose now. Fire the catapult, which is us. And
wow.
whee!
That's some balls, yo.
And then they form a little circle, and then boom. And then we land on our feet. Here we go.
Nobody broke their arms.
Ready to fight now. And then I'm gonna throw my shield at you like it's a Kamehameha.
See, this is why I hate the Snyderverse, because it inspires shit like this.
This is fun, Angus. Shut up.
Nah. I see this and I'm like, just turn this off.
Oh, that's an end table ass. Huh?
Yeah.
I seen this. This is good. Bam.
Oh, that's what you get, bitch. Be faithful to that man.
I just love that. It's like I'm gonna move it myself. Then get hit.
I don't need no man.
I don't need it at all. What the fuck was this one? Okay.
Oh, it's a trans.
Oh, it's a
No.
trans one. No.
Get it off.
We talked enough about that.
I only accept hot trans on this stream.
Hell, brother. What the?
Was that a dog? Yeah, okay.
She's walking her dog. And it's like, okay, this is all good. And then we're good to go. And it's just
Wait, I thought this was CGI.
Hail the Cthulhu.
I mean, maybe
This is CGI.
his thing, yeah. His sand behind him looks a little funky, but I don't know. I thought it looked cool. Still,
It is cool.
regardless.
That's the that's an alien.
And of course, for the old trans fat.
Yeah, brother.
The
That's a lot of active crazy.
Well, we're talking about Bill and Frank, so this was in their boutique.
That makes sense.
I don't know if you saw this one. This one was
Oh yeah, everyone's freaking out that this is child porn. It's just like a short girl.
That's just a short chick.
Just a short chick.
So she's of age.
Of age, yes.
I totally need her number. That's perfect size for me.
Yeah. I saw this was fucking cat. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, that crow's pissed off.
Dude, crows are fucking smart. They can parrot better than a parrot. Like they can copy voices and shit. Like pretty good. Please tell me why it's necessary to carry this many weapons.
He has a very small penis. It's very small, and he really needs to make up for it. He's very insecure about that dick. You only need 3 guns, not 2 guys. I mean, not 3 or 4.
I just like I got it because it said Lawrence Croft protecting the subway.
Lawrence Croft. Oh my god! Please do that. Please do Lawrence Croft Tomb Raider.
Yes.
I'm like Lawrence Croft Tomb Raider and
now
it's a subway.
Is Lawrence transitioned? Or is Lawrence going to be a guy?
Well, yeah, that's the thing because it's usually Laura. And step aside, sister. It's Lawrence's time,
Right.
and he's
Right,
getting
girl.
a foot long. At
Starring
Subway.
Elliot Page as Lawrence Croft.
Yes, this was good. Why do men kneel while proposing? They're talking to the pussy, not you.
Hail, brother. Hail. Yes, I've done some dumb shit for that pussy. The one needing paying attention to what the head was saying.
Toy Story, of course. Hi guys, I'm his mother's toy.
Oh my god.
Go.
Oh my god.
That's
Oh
good.
my word.
Yes.
Good shit. Some robots.
Oh,
push-ups.
Damn
man.
it. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh man. So wait, I gotta share this really quick.
Okay,
Um,
go ahead. I'll be right
Sure,
back.
if you make a
So
dildo,
the context of this, I'll explain. Okay, so the original tweet that he's responding to is deleted, but so you see like this black character is going shit.
Oh my god. Oh my god. What warranted this?
Okay, you might have seen a black woman got killed getting sucked into a turbine engine of a plane. Apparently they told her don't stand so close to it, and she's like, you don't know me.
Hey. Oh, okay. Yeah, they'll come in all colors.
Breaking news, Grace Randolph says something stupid. Sonic says pandas probably aren't having sex because of the bamboo. I don't know if that's true or not, but that
I don't know.
maybe there's some sort of estrogen because plants. So a lot of plants like soy, especially estrogenic issues, having too much plants or whatever. So maybe that is a factor, but like they've been suited to eat mostly bamboo. So
That's their evolutionary track, and sometimes evolution leads to a dead end. You know?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So maybe. All right. So what are you showing us with this Grace clip?
Superman fighting Methodists to DC
What?
back when I was writing comic books.
Oh,
And
she
I-
said. She has something.
And I think that was really beautiful. And I think there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in Kansas. I'll tell you, I pitched a story once to DC back when I was writing comic books. And I wanted to do Superman fighting meth addiction.
She said she wanted to do Superman. This was kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I heard meth addiction, so I
I
was
know.
like, wait, is this
If they cut off, if whoever made the clip, if they cut off, do Superman and end it there, that would have been funnier. But they didn't. So not quite as funny. And SpongeBob meme, of course. Women should fight alongside men in World War III because of equality. Feminists, no. Patrick's no. Let's see. What was this?
Fucking Immortal Coil said they them scara for the mascara.
That's great.
That's good. This one's a trans that identifies as a girl dominated a girl's track, apparently.
Oh, I love it.
Red there. Smoking.
Okay, so I don't know if I've told you this, Walton, but I am super pro trans athletes, especially in high school. Like,
really?
Yeah. So here's my plan. What I want is not just an athletic overhaul of education. I think so. Like Pride Month is during the off days of school. So we need a federally mandated second Pride Month. So kids will be at school for Pride Month. And what we need to do is send all the normal teachers on vacation for a month. And so make October, so you got Halloween, so costumes, that's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing, but for October, there needs to be the federally recognized school year Pride Month. And we send all the teachers on paid vacation, and we hire drag story hour trans teachers across the nation. Every class has got drag teachers and pride flags, and the ugly pride flag with the triangle and the circle and all that. Because I'm for chaos. Like, this doesn't need to just be little pockets on libs of TikTok, like, oh, this one school here has this thing. This one school in Canada has a woodshop teacher with giant fake tits.
Yeah.
This needs to be a problem everywhere.
Mhm.
So I want mass chaos in every school in the country, because then people will wake up and it will be their problem.
Right.
And so then the shit will fucking stop.
They're not in my
if it gets to
backyard.
that level, yeah, people will go, okay, I think there's a real problem now.
Yeah.
Gotta do something here.
Like when people are like, love is love, the people do what they want, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, what if it's your kids?
Yeah, what if your kid is denied an opportunity because there's no way they compete with that physically stronger person that she's
Yeah.
running against?
Yeah, like I love it. So when, like, it's funny, all these college girls are crying about the trans beating their ass in swimming, because it's like, you fuckers probably voted for Biden, and
we're
you're
probably
like,
cheering
the
for them.
reproductive rights, and I gotta vote against Trump because the right wing white supremacy will take my reproductive blah 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 narrative, and now you're seeing the consequence. It's
Right.
like all these Twitch and OnlyFans thoughts is like, oh, tax the rich, and it's like, oh my god, taxes on my profession. Why is this legal? They're taking my money. And it's like, oh, now see, you shouldn't have voted for fucking Biden and Harris and company and AOC. Like, yeah, I'm for mass chaos, because that's like, unfortunately, look at history. Look at civil rights. Like, no one really cared when it's like, yeah, these blacks, whatever, like, it's not my problem. But then you see it on TV where it's like they're getting hosed down by fire hoses and dog sicked on them for protesting or eating at the wrong counter. And it's like, this is awful. I can't, like, you might be like, oh, I don't like black people, but this is just not right.
It's inhumane.
Yeah, it's like, well, I don't want to be around them, but like, this is not okay. And so, yeah, like, I have a saying I've lived by: there's no success without conflict. and that can be various forms of conflict, be political, social, war, whatever the case. But conflict breeds success and innovation and change. And so until everyone's suffering, no one is really going to put a foot forward. Everyone's just kind of waiting on someone else to fix the problem. And that's why DeSantis is just hand over fist. Everyone loves him in Florida because like he's taking charge, but that's one pocket of the country, and you need it everywhere.
It's an important pocket of the country because it is a vacation state. So there's a lot of people that come through Florida from other states, and they get a chance to see, the at least taste the local environment and how different it is, and maybe draw some ideas from it. But you're right about that. Through imbalance comes growth. Angus, I think you're absolutely right. It's the whole "not in my backyard" mentality. That's what Clinton. Clinton. Oh my God, I can't believe that. George Carlin said, you know what I mean? Like
Hillary Clinton.
George Carlin, like not in my backyard. You can do this. We want bigger jails. We want this. We want that, but not in my backyard.
Yeah,
and
everybody help the homeless. Are you gonna?
Yeah, well, when enough girls in high school can't get on the teams because there's a bunch of guys in drag that took their spot because this is the clown world we've allowed, then they might get fucked out of opportunities in college and whatnot because of the system we've allowed. But then they're going to get old enough and they're gonna get red pilled real quick because it's like, well, I didn't get to because they let a trans quote unquote compete just because he had long hair and said he was a girl. And like, this is how you fix it. Is unfortunately some people got to suffer. It's like the whole welfare argument. It's like, well, how do you wean it down? It's like you don't. You just have there's got to be a generation suffer being poor and not getting a handout for this to change.
And that generation that eats that trans fat will not accept anything less afterwards.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, we got to have a generation of our youth grow up in this with lack of opportunity to the resentment will innovate change and normalcy again. We'll swing the pendulum back to normal conditions.
Yeah, and then deal with it when it goes to the extreme the other way.
Yeah.
Rookie, I see the video you have here, and I can't wait to watch it again.
Guess he gets a copyright hit. Protesting. Boom.
I don't think you get a copyright hit for it.
I don't know. Sometimes on random Twitter things, so it's hard to tell.
Gotcha.
Trying to protest.
Can we see the truck impact the vegan one more time, please?
Right.
I can't get enough of that.
I love it. There's a video going around. I think it's a couple years old, but it's like these environmentalists are trying to stop the road, and then they start like attacking the car, so then he floors it. And then like, how could they do this? And it's like, what?
Well, yeah, they're trying to break
zombies.
They're trying to break into his car, and then he ran one caught on his tire and ran him over and killed him or something. But it's like, yeah, it made sense to me.
This cartoon.
This is great.
I'll do the guy's voice, or I'll do the girl's voice. You do the guy's voice. What the hell are you doing?
The fact you don't know what I'm doing is exactly why I'm doing it.
I was being the other person.
Oh, got us a power bottom.
Yeah. Good. White woman gives birth to black baby and accuses her husband of having sex with a black girl.
Because that makes sense. Yeah. That you might be be married to a narcissist on that one.
Yep. Just
it's a cat.
Cute little camouflaged animals here. We'll popping in there, little cleanse of shit. Whoop. Playing
that's
the
cool.
leaves. Little
That's
I'm
cool.
gonna get you, you fuck. There's a black kitty there. Oh, and then that's pretty much.
We don't see no blacks on our screen.
No.
Not
Unless they're
anymore.
flying into airplanes.
Yeah, not anymore. I don't know if you guys saw this little mess.
What the fuck is what?
Oh my god,
Angus.
dude! This is the same guy that did the awesome Spectre song for James Bond.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's so infuriating that no, Sam Smith is like, I don't like Sam, but God, he kills it on on James Bond.
Yeah, that was a good.
Sometimes I
one
take
there.
a shower in the morning. I get ready with that.
They're all peeing on
Yeah.
him. Isn't that
The
funny?
fuck?
Gotta take charge of the day, James
on.
Bond. But then I see like this is the guy who made James Bond song. I'm like,
Like,
the
where the
fuck
hell
are we
did that
doing?
come from? What the fuck was that? Hold on.
I don't know, some musical of some kind.
Wait, this is Wendy's verified. Wendy's,
Oh,
do you cook anything on your menu in peanut oil? My son has a severe allergy. I couldn't find any information on your website.
Oh
Shut
shit! Shut
the fuck up.
Oh my god!
Shut
Wendy's,
the fuck up.
Wendy's is
Yeah.
savage. Yo.
Is this real?
Yes, Wendy's is known for having great takes. Follow Wendy's on Twitter
Yeah.
because they're funny.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
shit, dude.
You know what's funny? Okay, so Walton, it's funny you talk about satanic because in my atheistic journey, post-Catholicism, I was interested in the Satanic Temple, which is a form of Satanism. Now, of course, you hear the name, you're like, oh, the devil. And it's like, no, the devil is like an allegory. Satanism is a atheist praxeology. It's very much like science. Like they have like 9 tenets, and it reads very kind of Buddhist, humanist, scientific. It's like, oh, like there is no politics to this view of the world. Like
We live as
all
the
walks
beasts
of
the
life
field.
could be here, but unfortunately, it's only like blue hair weirdos that join, or like edgelords that just want to troll Christianity.
In
for the
no
most
means
part.
Satanas Lucifera Excelsior. I've run with a few Satanists.
Yeah, and so I went to. We were going to start a chapter in Columbus, so I went to the meeting. Everyone's from like Cleveland or Cincinnati, and I was the only sort of local person. I still had to drive a bit because I don't live proper Columbus, but I go there. We meet at Denny's on a Sunday. Everyone's wearing black of various forms. There's like kind of metal people, but everyone's wearing black. Which is
uniform black.
I was the second, and we're in the middle around like clearly all these other people probably went to church earlier in the day. So we stick out. And then I'm the second to last one there. I'm a little late. And then the last person shows up. It's a trans, quote unquote. And it's funny because like, it's amazing I even got in this group because like I don't use Facebook because they don't have my gender. And I'm just like, what the fuck? This is like 2017 maybe. So like this is still kind of new shit. You're not hearing this every day. And I'm just like, what the and then they're asking the Denny's waitress like, oh, do you cook this in like a certain oil and this and that? Cause like, do you have this option? It's like, it's a fucking Denny's. It's the same Washington, Ohio. It's Denny's. They get it from a factory on a truck. They cook all the same shit everywhere you go. Like, what are you talking? You're not going to eat here if you got all these. It's like there was one guy I liked, and he was kind of overboard, but he was conservative. He was like a big Trumper, Second Amendment, this and that. It was great, but it was funny because one guy I stayed friends with for a while through Facebook, but he kept sharing all this libtard shit, crying about Trump and stuff. And he shared something of Melania's like I don't know 70s or 80s like nude photo shoot. And it was like slut shaming her. And I'm like, wait. Earlier you were talking about how Buddhism is still a like sexist patriarchy religion. And then you're slut shaming Melania Trump. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, aren't you like a feminist? Aren't women allowed to do what they want with their bodies?
Right.
And I'm like, but you're slut shaming her because she's Trump's wife. And he just went into like NPC mode and blocked me. So like I was already kind of past Satan because I saw firsthand and the same like the atheist community where it's like atheism shouldn't be stuck with one religion, just like Christianity. You got like liberal Christians where it's like I don't get how you get this view from reading this book, but like it's an open market of politics in this religion. But for some reason, like Satanism tends to just be blue hair weirdos that want to like go to counter protests at abortion clinics and like wear baby masks and like mock the anti-abortionists.
Wow, Satanists have changed in 20 years.
It's weird. It's just a big troll job. Like I appreciate it to a degree. Like I first learned about Satanism with the Baphomet statue because I was in Oklahoma and they were putting up a 10 Commandments statue on the state ground at the like Capitol, and the Satanists are like, oh well, like First Amendment. If you allow one, you have to allow all. So we want to put up a Baphomet statue. And then all of a sudden they're like, there will be no religious statues on the state grounds. Like, it's like, ah. So like, that's why I appreciate Satanism, because they like, as a troll effort, they make a real point about, well, you don't actually care about religious freedom. You just want to propagate your Christian shit through the use of like First Amendment. But when someone other religion, then you like, oh no, we're just gonna be secular.
Yeah,
that is like what gave me the interest, along with some of the, like the tenant ideas. But yeah, like you know me now, like I'm interested in Hellenism, but still kind of mainly atheistic, I guess, in my mindset. So
gotcha. Yeah, I went through that phase. I studied Satanism in the '90s with a couple warlocks. I studied the Echo and Keys. Back to front. I was going to learn it. I was going to learn everything I could for them. I guess I traveled with the different types of Satanists. They were more ritual magic oriented. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, basically, there was one line from the beginning of Anton LaVey's book. We live as the beasts of the field. It's a part of the affirmation of Satan. And that pretty much says it all, at least from the Satanists that I hung out with, which was, we are animals. We are animalistic. There is good in this world. There is bad in this world. Sometimes you got to kill a motherfucker if they go wreck. But at the same time, help your fellow people, because without a community, you don't have growth, without helping others, without working with others. And it was live as you live. We are beasts. We are built differently. Now, granted, when I ran through those circles, I did run into some pretty manipulative individuals. I did run into people who only propagated Satanism because it was anti-Christ, which, in my opinion, if you're a Satanist coming at it from that point of view, you are a borrowed religion from a borrowed religion from a borrowed religions. So, like, you're kind of a hypocrite at that point. Just there to fuck with people. Some people are only there just to wear the satanic star, which, and not even understand that is the seal of Pan. That's 2,500 years old, well before Satan was invented. And then, but like but people who do, but like I said, even then I met people who just became satanic to buck the system, to be an irritation, to go against, to have something to fight, which is a lot of what these blue-haired weirdos do, is they just attach themselves to a cause that they don't even care about or never knew about, or they have, some stray gay feeling and so all of a sudden thought they should have a dick, whatever the fucking case it is. And then, find something else or someone else to blame for whatever issues they have, or just want to get into drama and controversy anyway. And in that way, those types of Satanists, those are, they ain't nothing to me. They're bubblegum. That doesn't, but when people mention Satanism, I'm defensive, because I have seen them and I understand those dark forces and I've worked with them. But for the most part, I'm very tentative. I'm very reserved, because it's far and few between that you will run into someone whom I would classify as someone who is a true worshiper of Lucifer and the Luciferian ideology, in the aspect of not the way that people label Hollywood with it, but in that we are all free. Anarchy is the true state of freedom, and who you are built to be in this world, who God created you to be, is who you are, and there is no shame in being who you are.
Yeah,
sorry.
I think I agree with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just the aspect that I came. That's the aspect that I grew up with. Those are the Satanists that I knew, or some of them that I knew. At least the ones, I mean, and that definitely comes from my own perspective of how I see the world. So that may not be like the mainstay of the Satanic Church and their principles and doctrines and how they think, however they interpret the keys and whatever they do. That's definitely from my own perspective. I was a serious practitioner. I've always been a serious practitioner. I run into somebody who's wearing a star and they can't even tell me what the fuck it represents. I get upset. Where did that come from? Well, that was the original symbol of the heart that comes from Venus. Or Aphrodite. Like, there are little things that I think witches should know, that when I'm having a conversation, I can see right through it. And I hate people that claim to be something that they are not, or are using something they are not as a platform to either make themselves feel better, project a lie, or create indifference, create aggression, or an aggressive, polarizing energy between people. That's what I've seen a lot done with these entertainments. That's what I've seen done with politics, since I've been paying attention to it again post the bathroom debate. And so it's just an irritation to me. And so I take a vested interest in when I take a vested interest in things that I think reflect true freedom and true individualism and true thought. And so the Satanists that I ran with were like that. So it may just have been like, that may be a minority in Satanism. I don't know, but that's how I've always seen them. Some of them are downright evil. Trust and believe.
I like the idea. I like the idea of Lucifer as he's kind of like, the way I view it is like he's like Galileo. The story of Lucifer is like a manipulated story of Prometheus. Is that, especially when you learn about like all these similarities of Mediterranean religions and then Judaism and their history of enslavement repeatedly, different quote unquote oppressors, the different empires that took over their land, subjugated them, and then you see the religion and all the similarities and things that predate them, and you're like, yeah, this is just a cobblepot of other religions.
Yeah, well put.
So like that's why, that's like realizing that's what made me leave Christendom and become atheist. It wasn't like, oh, I'm bi and so I, Sodom and Gomorrah or whatever. It wasn't that. Like that's what a lot of people scapegoat. Like, well, I can't be gay because the Bible. It's like, well, like find a different religion. Like, quit trying to change it or bemoan it. That it wasn't nothing like that. It was like just reasoning, and then also the Pope. The Pope was like, "Who am I to judge gay people?" It's like, you're the fucking Pope. You're the vicar of Christ. Like, what are you talking about? When, I've realized that this Pope is a mastermind, because if for any of you that aren't Catholic, don't know this, how dogma works in Catholicism is, it's easy to look at the Pope and think he's the president, he's the dictator of the Catholic Church. So what he says is the law of the church. It's like, not exactly. So the Pope is supposedly infallible in that anything he decrees dogmatic is protected by the Holy Spirit, that he cannot manipulate the church in its like core teachings. So every Pope that's inherited the role of Peter, is his dogmatic teachings are all in line with the Bible and tradition and with God. That's the idea of infallibility. Well, so anything that a Pope decrees or interprets has to retroactively also be in line with every other Pope. And so there's a lot of red tape with any deviation or explanation. So the Pope's hands is tied a lot with anything. Like if a Pope wants to say, well, actually gay is okay, we were just reading the Bible wrong for 2,000 years. Like that's not going to fly. But what this Pope does is he's not changing dogma. He's just telling people about dogma. So the thing is, Francis is a Jesuit. Jesuits have never been the Pope before this guy, because they're an order that's very loosey-goosey compared to Benedictine or Franciscan. Jesuits are convert at all costs. And I don't mean in the sense of like convert or will kill you, like missionaries in the past with colonialism. No, they will convert people. Like if you ever seen the movie Silence with Adam Driver and Spider-Man, they're Jesuits. And so you see this like with the Chinese missionary work, they were, maybe it's Japanese, but whatever case, those were like ancestor worshiping people. And so Jesuits would come to you. It's like, well, this is kind of like a hard thing for these people. So, all right, you can still worship your ancestors as long as you're worshiping Christ too, versus like a Benedictine. Like, no, you have to forego your old faith. That's wrong. That's demonic, whatever the case. It's wrong. You have to worship Jesus, and that's it. Jesuits will be like, well, as long as you're also doing this, it's okay.
Oh, so Jesuits are like the early Christians, and
they'll turn a blind eye. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so Francis is very much like a communist. He's very of the people, where it's like, well, you don't need to go to church every Sunday and holy day. You just need to like go on the big holidays where everyone's having a fun day, like Easter and Christmas, where everyone goes to church and like checks in once a year,
like pagans, right?
That is Francis's church. And also it's like, well, yeah, we know abortion's wrong, but do we have to talk about it? And so when you do that through your priesthood, you're going to have generations in the future that never heard abortion is wrong. They'll think,
Mhm.
well, it's the law, so it's okay. And it's like, well, sure, it's the law, but we don't partake in that. That is allowed in our society, but it's an abomination before God. And so that those little things was what made me like, this Pope is the devil. Like he is the undoing, he's the undoing of what was sacred,
Right.
and so that's what woke me up. And there's a lot of people that have like turned because of Benedict. He just ousted, he essentially defrocked, which is like,
Mhm.
you're always a priest for life, but like he has no rank now in the church. A huge anti-abortionist priest. This is like his calling. His main thing he focuses on is like fighting abortion,
Mhm.
which is great. That's totally in line with the dogma of the church and of the Bible. And Francis defrocked this guy, but he promotes some priest that's like LGBTQ plus. And it's like, do you see the problem here? And when anyone that's Christian that thinks Catholic is an abomination or a misreading of the Bible and whatnot, you look at the history of the church and its consistency. If Catholicism can fall to wokeness and the insidious mind viruses going around,
Mhm.
your little church from 1800 is not going to make it.
Right.
You will succumb to the trans flag. You will succumb to BLM. You will succumb to Antifa. If the church is degrading, you have no chance.
Holy.
That's why it's a big thing to me. Even though I'm not Catholic anymore, I'm usually like an apologist on the outside for like arguments of faith because I
Gotcha.
understand it. But
I almost said holy shit. Sorry.
well, it's like, when people say, oh, they worship saints, it's like, well, I mean, there probably are people that have cultified saints in their practice, but like that is not the dogma. Like saints are intercessory, holy people that you're like, please, saint, you are clearly of God. Speak in his ear, essentially.
Right.
is what we're asking.
They're energies that you can
Yeah.
evoke.
But there is definitely cults of like, they've made it kind of like a pagan thing where it's like, oh, Mary, oh, Our Lady of Lord, like they're essentially worshiping Mary.
It's always been a pagan thing, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. It's a manipulation of pagan. But so like I'll defend Catholicism because it's like, no, that is not what they're doing. That's not what they're supposed to be doing anyway. It's
I see what you're saying though, and I understand like breaking. Well, I think that also this is one of the ways that I stand up. Sometimes gritting my teeth with my Christian brothers and sisters because I see how there has been a breakdown of their values are being attacked. They're being subverted. They're becoming they're almost shifting into the other, category if they're not woke, and that's wrong. That absolutely is wrong. There's a strong tie to heritage. There is something to be said for being conservative in your traditions. Absolutely. I mean, I worship ancient traditions. I'm very, very conservative. When you look at a system like that being broken down, now I'm not agreeing. This is not me agreeing with anti-abortion activists stopping people from being able to get it. But if you have a group of people that have had a long-held tradition and belief, this is their life. This has been, this has been passed down, father to son, mother to daughter. This has been generations upon thousands, over 1,000 years of this. Then that institution should be protected. There should be centurions at the gate. So that type of subversion is breaking them down. And you're right. If something like that can fall to wokeness, that really should speak to everybody. On top of the way politics, laws that are being passed, laws that are being proposed in California, were like well into their grown
decriminalize giving people AIDS when that used to be a murder charge, stuff like that. Yeah, that was years ago that they started that, and it's only gotten worse. They've lowered crimes, like punishments for pedophilic things and whatnot.
Yeah. They're trying to outright freaking like make it available. Like it's totally fine. Touch that 15-year-old boy. Like, no. And the way that has eroded the protection of our children, it comes from all of this trans rhetoric. It comes from the doctors. Doctors are being taught in Harvard Medical how to deal with transgender infants. Like, who the fuck in their right mind? Who the fuck in their right mind thought that this is a good fucking idea? Like, this is the destruction of the nuclear family.
They can't even walk. How are they trans?
They don't even know where their dick is, bro. How the fuck can they decide if they feel like a woman? These are we are, and you know what? I have to kind of use the reference. Actually, since we're talking about this, I have to kind of use the reference. It's the Sunday school mentality. Get them young, get them while they're impressionable.
It's the Hitler Youth. Like, of course,
absolutely.
you gotta get them young. That way, you've already like steered them. So like, I think of it like this way with entertainment, and it's funny because look at where we're at now versus when I was younger. First getting into like film criticism ideas. I didn't even know about YouTube and the layman criticism and whatnot. It was just my interest. And I always hated Dora. Just as a show, it irritates. Like I was telling Ricky Blue's Clues, they'd be like, do you see like where is it? And like kids in the audience of the show film would be like, over there, and like, wait, over here. And like, no, the other way. And like, oh, and yeah. So like, they'd have a response.
Mm-hmm.
But in Dora, it's like, do you see the blah blah blah? Where is it? And so they just leave it to you outside of the TV to respond, but that annoyed the shit out of me because I've already seen a Nickelodeon template. But anyway, it's a bilingual show. They introduce little like tidbits of like, vamonos, you know, and it's like, yeah, we like Dora. It's fun. And I'm like, this show, immigration was a problem as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now you got a happy Mexican girl cartoon that kids are growing up with for a generation, and so this is going to influence their viewpoint of immigration,
crossing
and
borders.
That sounds crazy. That sounds crazy to tie Dora to voting on immigration policy. But look at where we're at now, where dumb kids younger than me now that are adults that can vote are voting for open borders.
Mm-hmm.
Are you telling me none of them watch Dora? I'm not saying it's Dora creators' fault or that was the intent, but that is an application where it's like, well, actually, we can use this to like start the seeds of like, well, you don't want to be mean to Mexicans because Dora's Mexican.
Well, that's been a thing for decades, and that's because we get a slave force that escapes here that is undocumented.
I know
that will not pay, that don't have to pay taxes or don't get taxes back. You know.
Well, it's like Happy Feet's my other example. Happy Feet's my other example where it's like, you know, like you're watching these penguins and he likes to dance and he's a weirdo, but the dancing makes up for not being able to sing with the other penguins. So he like finds his niche in the world and becomes essentially alpha in his own right, as an oddball.
Mm-hmm.
But then also they throw in this thing of fishing, and then all the governments, like all the different governments, the UN, it's like, yeah, we got to stop fishing in this area because we have the penguins. And it's like, wait, you just put propaganda in this kid's film. But you say it back then, even like 5 years ago, I'd say this, and my parents were like, oh, that's retarded. It's just a cartoon. I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
First film school was in Soviet Russia, and then the Nazis learned propaganda from them.
Mm-hmm.
So like the idea of montage, editing, it all goes back to Russia. And so you try, you know, when you try to say like, oh no, it's just entertainment. It's like now you're learning. Now
right.
You see Daily Wire trying to fight it and make their own house of entertainment and unwoke kids programming because this is a real threat. Steven Universe was a show I was interested in because it's from Adventure Time, one of the creators on Adventure Time. And I'm like, I love Adventure Time. Let me check this show out. And then I start watching it and I start reading about it. And the person's like a they, her. And there's all these like gender challenging norms of gender.
Oh my Lord, put that.
There's only like 2 male characters in the show, and
put them in front of a chicken truck with the vegan.
Yeah, and it's like, this is what I'm talking about. Look at where we're at now. I was crazy. I was the Alex Jones saying Dora is going to lead to immigration voting and lowering the standards and opening the borders.
I mean, if that's true, that is an ingenious plant, you know, to create a subliminal thought, you know, throughout people's minds, young impressionable minds. I mean, we know he's kind of knew it. I think in earlier, like in 80s, 90s, you could see it. You could see the programming here and there. It definitely wasn't as prevalent as it is now. You know, but I never even thought of it that way. But from that perspective, I can see how it did soften the minds of people or place them into a future way of an accessible line of thought that could be used for manipulation.
Yeah. Speaking of manipulation, I gotta show you a couple of these memes I did save. Messages. Here we go. Share this. I can't believe,
yeah, brother. Hail, Papa.
I
Papa.
didn't know I had this saved on my phone, and I missed the opportunity with the M&M's coverage. So I made this last year, I think, when the M&M's woke with the green M&M. I was like, "What is this? This candy needs at least 3 more genders."
Right.
I'm very proud of that one. Here's
good.
a meme. The meme was what Aladdin looks like naked.
That's awful.
Here is an article. I've discovered how much I love drinking my own pee, and it's about damn time.
Oh my God. Is that for real, dude?
Yes.
Oh my Lord.
I thought this is pretty good because someone edited this guy in the background. It says, "Normalize taking shortcuts through jewelry stores at malls." And the guy's like, "Yeah, you damn kids." Here's an article. Kansas man accidentally shot by dog is remembered as lovable goofball.
Wow. Dude.
Just imagine somebody's
How
gonna
do
make
you
a little like cartoon of like this dog with like a fucking cowboy hat and like a holster.
I wanna
Shot and killed him, or he survived.
Well,
No, he remembered him. He's gone.
remembered, so I assume he's dead because like they're remembering him.
The man's a lovable goofball, or the dog?
Well, I want to see a
man.
story. I want to see a story where the lovable goofball dog comes back from the dead and takes his revenge.
Hi friends, today's video we are doing an unboxing.
Mhm.
Do you get
I
it?
don't get it. I'm sorry, I lost.
You never seen Seven?
Yes. Oh,
What's
yes.
in the
I'm sorry, my bad.
box?
My bad. Right. You know, when I see Seven, I think about the Super Bowl ads that year. Remember with Captain Kirk?
No, I was that movie came out in what, 97? I was 5, so I was totally unaware.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, okay. So look for the Super Bowl ads in, I guess, 96. Like after that movie came out, they did a whole skit where it was Seven, but it was Shatner. Shatner was the guy, the killer. Like he played the different parts. It was a pretty cool couple commercials.
That sounds hilarious.
And the last one is they open up the box and there's Shatner's head and he's like criticizing them.
Speaking of Shatner, I got a funny little allusion to like this is religion. It's kind of a meme in itself because of coincidence. So I was in a entomology class online one year at OSU, and entomology is the study of bugs.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I was doing anything bug related, but I needed like science classes, and it was summer, so there's only so much available, and it worked to go to this class, and turned out to be pretty easy. But it was funny because I used to work in a movie store, and so on my off days I'd go to like pawn shops and hunt for any like gems to try to flip at my store. For I would get the max payout for whatever item, and then the store could put it out for like $20+, and so everyone would be making money, and customer would get what they want. I'd be adding new things to the roster. And anyway, one day I happen to see Kingdom of the Spiders. I'm like, what the hell is? And I look at it, it's William Shatner. I'm like, what the hell? So this is like after Jaws, like an eco-terror horror era of the 70s. And so he's a veterinarian, and then there's like radioactive spiders or whatever start like taking over a town. Everyone's like, oh, my cow's sick, doc. And then, oh no, some more cows are dying. And then this, and then, oh, this, and then just they get in sworn by fucking spiders. It's funny because they're actually in the film they're red-kneed tarantulas, which is like a starter tarantula for like a pet. They're very docile. Okay. So it's funny when you know that and you're seeing this. It's like killer spiders. Like these are the most calm spiders you're ever going to get. But what's funny is, so I bought this. All right. And I was going to try to sell it. And then the next week's assignment was, we're going to watch Kingdom of the Spiders or a bug, like watch this, talk about like bugs in film, or I can't remember exactly what the angle was, but it's just like, dude, this is divine. Like, I found this. God wanted me to find this DVD because I would have the assignment next week. Like, that's religion. Here's a funny one. You need to be more inclusive and tell LGBTQ stories to your children. And he's like, okay, son, this is the story of Sodom and Gomorrah.
That's awful. That's true. That's legit. That is legit.
It's like SpongeBob with the ugly monsters. It's like one day, or it's like one time there was a town full of gay people and God killed them. The end. I haven't dug into snellification, but this post makes me want to. So the thing says snellification, but instead of the subject having a shell, they just have a huge butt where their shell would be. Every time I post one of these, it always pisses somebody off. Even people that are into TF, whatever that is, it just triggers the fight or flight response for some reason. How do you feel about this? Are you interested in snellification now?
Those Hooters are big, and I am a backdoor man, so I'm kind of into it. Oh, we'll see more snellifications come through, then we'll see what.
Yeah,
we'll see
I will update you with my investigation of snellification.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
I love this. Avatar.
Oh shit!
In stunning 4K high dynamic range.
Wow. That's awful.
This is one from Women Posting Reels. I grew up in a very sentimental family. So the first time I trimmed my pubes, I collected all the hairs and put them in a ring box for my mom so she could remember me becoming a woman. And she said, "Oh no, baby, that's disgusting." Wizard, you're a lady in the chat. Have you had this issue with your mom? Let me know.
That's God.
This is a good one. So the post says, "Dear white people, yes, we will go back to Africa and take all our inventions with us." And the person says, "White people have thanklessly enjoyed black presence for far too long. Can we get this trending? Hashtag return to Africa."
Oh shit.
Now
don't take my peanut butter, yo. Don't take my peanut butter, please.
Is Nadolf Horsler.
Oh shit.
And then Lethal Lightning shared this. I don't know the context if this is an actual thing, but it just says nuke the whales.
If Lethal's promoting this, it means something and it's fantastic.
Fuck the whales. Let me see. So this is the Star Wars thing. Wait, Papa, are you saying the snellification is disgusting or the girl with the pube box?
Exactly.
Yeah, we need clarification, Papa.
Sherry, I don't know what emoji you shared because of streamer.
She
but
laughing. Oh no, she was cover. It's a face covering its mouth.
The box of pubes.
I call that the teehee emoji.
Both.
Both.
What? I'm going to purposely tag you in snellification.
Papa, we need to investigate this world. Come on, man. Come along for the
ride. So, this is from Bounded Comics. I get a kick out of Bounded Comics. It's irritating because they're kind of like the focal point. They're the only place that's like a catch-all of like our sentiment of like, can you believe this angle? Of course, the media will share it one way, and they kind of share the other view, and I like that. But then there'll be shit where they're talking about, oh, I can't relate to this story because it's they're talking about Bros, and of course that movie was its whole own shit show. But their review or talking about is like, well, I can't relate because they're gay, and it's like, what? Like that's not like that reductive. And then like another article, they're like, quoting the Catechism of the Catholic Church. It's like, what does this have to do with movie talk?
It
It's not
doesn't.
like the movie was about Catholic anything and got it wrong.
Now,
And that's what
Bounding gets a little
infuriates me. I'm like,
Puritan.
ah!
Bounding, depending on who's writing the article, can get a little Puritan. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but Walt Disney Company's grooming agenda continues. Star Wars Celebration to feature panel about drag shows. The Walt Disney Company made it abundantly clear the company has a grooming agenda when it opposed a bill in Florida to prevent the teaching of orientation and gender identity from kindergarten through third grade, and that agenda is still in effect as the company approved a panel about drag for the upcoming Star Wars. So I don't like this kind of roping the two together. Like the drag's just kind of facepalm because it's like, why the fuck is there like if you're trans and you cosplay whatever, but like now it's got to have its own section instead
Well,
of just
connecting the thread, Angus. Let's start off with something that's going to create a narrative and then give the information. You know, like that's what that is. And you're right. It's a roping. What does it have to do with anything? Like I understand that Disney's a shit corporation, and they did back something that was disgusting, or they tried to oppose something that was trying to protect our children. We all know that. So like just get into the meat of it. That should be at the end of the article if you want to mention it.
Yeah. So they say Twitter user, aka that gay Jedi, announced that the Walt Disney Company, Lucasfilm,
You say right, it's
Star
that
Wars.
gay Jedi.
Thank you, Rookie.
Thank you. Yeah, I just read it like straight. Like, who was the news guy after Norm on SNL? Kevin Nealon. Is that his name?
Yeah, he was a news guy. Yeah, Kevin Nealon.
Yeah, he was like the dry deadpan announcer or news guy that like he would rattle off all these fucking Islamic names dealing with the Middle East and like straight face as fuck. And it's like, how does this guy do this? You know what I'm talking about, Walton?
No, I think I missed that era. I stopped
The
watching
guy in Happy Gilmore when he's like, all right, so the ball has its own energy.
Him, yes,
That
yes,
guy.
yeah.
He was the news anchor weekend update
okay.
after Norm. Yeah.
Send it home. Send the ball home.
Yeah. Exploring Star Wars to the art of drag for the upcoming celebration 2023 in London. The user wrote, I am humbled, grateful, and over the forest moons to announce that my Star Wars celebration panel with whatever and someone titled Star Wars is a drag. Exploring Star Wars through the art of drag has officially been approved. We can't wait to share this with you all.
Why? This is a family. It's a family franchise. Why? Like, I don't. What the fuck does one have to do with the other?
This is irritating. This is irritating because it's like, all right, like people already cosplay, so this would just be, I'm trans and I cosplay, but no, you're saying you're drag.
Honey, you're trans. You cosplay every fucking thing in your life. Okay.
You're cosplaying as a woman.
Right. That's an Adam's apple, bro.
Well, yeah, but it's like the panel. So is it like actors from the movies? Like I don't understand what is.
Yeah, let's see more. You're right, Rook. You're right.
Yeah, but it's funny because this is the same company that banned Slave Leia products.
Oh, right, and Slave One, of course.
Yeah,
and
it's this fire spray.
I mean, if it was as simple as like, hey, the panel's just gonna wear some wacky clothes and stuff, I guess that would be one thing. But nowadays, they've very combined the two things of like drag and sexualization of it, like super hardcore shit. So it's like, it's hard not to think of that when they say that. So it's that's not good.
Well, also,
right, like the fact that you say drag instead of just cosplay, like drag has its own history. Drag is a big like gay community
like
thing.
That's different than cosplay, right? Those are two
like
different things.
When you go like drag shows is like it's very sexual. It's not just hey, I'm wearing a dress or I'm a trans. It's like it's historically like a very sexual gay hedonism thing. And so like I do see the reservation. I do see the angle by even though I don't always agree with the hard jump to conclusions that Bounty will take. I appreciate that they will give this angle instead of just like, oh boy, yay, inclusivity like every other MSM outlet will. So it's a double-edged sword doing Bounty. So I just want to clarify my view of Bounty in the comics.
Yeah, I guess because like the way I'd see it is like it would be completely harmless if it was like because I've seen this where like for the Princess Bride or something, there's like couples that would like swap the role or something where the boyfriend's Buttercup and the girl is the other one. I forget William or something. I forget, but like
Lancel?
they
No.
I forget the name on top of my head, but they swap or whatever, and it's like it's not like oh they're in drag. Look, it's like no, they're if anything you could say it's cosplay or something, but they don't sexualize it. It's never used in that type of way. Whenever drag is used these days, it typically is, and it seems to be used in more sexual manner. So it's have no, this is going to be at this kids convention. Isn't that great? It's like no.
Well,
Fuck.
the point of that is terminology. It is the misuse of words. It's creating
Yeah,
a new
it's making it
dictionary.
very confusing. We do gender math all the time. This is what Angus
Yeah,
is
I was telling
talking
Rookie,
about.
I was like, I was saying something about like a trans man had a baby. And he's like, wait, what? And I'm like, you forgot your gender math, Rookie.
Yeah, I was like, I
Right.
was like, wait,
Right.
so it's which one?
It's like it's a woman that is a man now.
Cosplaying
I
as
was
a
like,
man.
but that was why I was confusing because I'm like, but it's a woman trying to be a man, so why'd they get pregnant? It's like, what are they doing wrong?
Rookie, that's because you are a normal person. It's okay, man.
Yeah.
What is the
Well,
quote Anakin says in episode 3? He's like, wait, this was your idea.
Yeah, don't do that to me.
This whole operation was your idea.
I mean, honest to God, what is the use of having a headline like "trans man has a kid"? Okay, you just in that said that was a woman. Like, there's
Woman
no reason
has-
for that article to exist.
A woman that tries to be a dude had a baby because they,
Right? What is the point of that?
I'm the dude disguised as a dude disguised as another dude.
I don't care if that chick has got whatever. You know what I mean? Pretend to be whatever you want to be. Be what. Honest to God, at the end, I'm making fun of it, but be who you want to be. But there's no reason for that article. That is just to create laughs, lulls, harassments. You know what I mean? Like that's all that's for.
I mean, the article is funny when you first see pregnant or a man is pregnant or something. It's like, what in the bonkers world is that? That's funny.
That's
But
a
it's like-
bullshit artist,
But,
Rook.
but that no, I'm saying that was like back in like the olden times of 10 years ago.
Mhm.
That kind of thing would be funny just
The
in,
olden time.
because it's opposite of hey, women get pregnant, but that says a man's pregnant.
That's fucked up.
actually a
Rookie says
chick.
old. Rookie.
People get pregnant, Rookie. People have
People.
periods.
Mm,
People
mm,
have menopause.
Birthing peoples.
Mm.
It's ridiculous.
School sounds like it'd be very difficult these days if they teach things like this. Now anybody can get these things and experience the joys of periods or something.
Well, I've been having. I have a son who has gone through middle school and is going through high school through this entire woke era. And listen, y'all know me, right? The heat of my TFM, rah rah rah. Like that was when he was in middle school. My son understands how I think. He understands the position that I have. And my son, a few weeks ago, even with my influence, a few weeks ago, came home and said, "So I was told today that I might be a socialist." And I had to explain to him what socialism is. I had to explain to him all of the history of socialism. I had explained what he was being told he was, the contradiction in his beliefs and what socialist beliefs are. Like this is an ongoing fight that parents have to engage in when it comes to your schools, when it comes to public schools. They are constantly trying to propagandize. They've been doing it since he was in 7th grade. I had to go in and ask the health. My son walked out of a health class because they were trying to teach him about like 62 freaking genders. He was like, "No, this ain't right. This ain't real. This is imaginary." I went in and
Can I go do math
Idiot,
problems?
there's at least 500.
Can I
Right,
do
and
Can I just do normal math problems? Can I do those? Those are better.
I went in there and I told that vice principal. He said, "Well, we have different beliefs." I said, "Listen, it's pretty fucking simple. In history class, are you teaching Frodo in the One Ring? You know what I mean? Like, are you?" And he's no, well, that's imaginary. So is this shit. It's fiction. And you know what that teacher did? Failed him, even though I was told by the principal that he would not, be failed for being excluded from this section of health class. Now she failed him because someone came in and stood up, and that is the type of bullshit, literally high school bullshit that you are putting up with these woke teachers who are there to propagandize and to change our culture. So like I get the hyper vigilance in some of these store protecting our children, protecting these myths in these ways, the platforms, Disney, if they're doing this kind of stuff. But there's also the other side, the other side of the coin, which is while the far left is out there trying to change words and terms and lifestyles and create all these different narratives, we got to make sure that we're not doing it over here. Because like Angus said, we're using drag. I need to hear the rest of this article because drag means that's a sex show that happens late at night that adults go to on the weekends. They're funny, they're full, they're comical. I've never been to any, but I got lots of gays in the family, and that's an adult activity. That's what they do.
Yeah, but it also used to refer to like didn't men in plays like play the female part often? Essentially, wasn't that what it used to kind of mean? But a long time ago. That's what I kind of thought it was for the longest time.
It's got to do with cross-dressing too. It's a cross-dressers thing, and ding ding ding. Cross-dressers does not mean gay. It's a lifestyle. It is a culture. It is a subculture unto itself. But the connotation, much like transgender pre-2012, the way that we have been constructed to think, or the ignorance of that subculture, leads to a lot of issues that create conflict because there is a lack of understanding. Sometimes I don't want to know the process of someone going through a sex change operation. I don't need to know that shit. That shit can stay in the closet. It ain't none of my business. But now it's plastered everywhere. And not only that, but propagandized and used as, it's like this. It's the way that the maps try and protect themselves. They're trying to change their name to map, the pedos out there. It's like the way they're trying to do it. Well, if you're against this, then you're homophobic. Like, no, now you were trying to create a bridge between something that is harmful, disgusting, minor attraction to just a regular ass person who happens to be gay. You know what I mean? Like, this is the correlations that are trying to be made are nefarious, and they're used to confuse while disseminating propaganda. And so reusing words or trying to change the cultural or proper terminology.
Order 66.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm going on a tangent. Go ahead, man.
Pretty much. Well, I mean, real quick on that, it's
Dragon to Star Wars.
I think the amount, I'm sure that there's a level, and I know there's a level of indoctrination that a lot of teachers at schools are trying to implement, but I assume that the majority isn't under every classroom, under every school, but there is enough of it where it's like my mom works for a district and it's they have a new civil rights thing they have to learn. It's about fighting discrimination and stuff, and it's like oh my god, so she's gonna fill me in on that stuff because that'll be fun. And I don't know, so at your son's school, do they have a thing where they can choose what nickname they want to be called, like what they have to be put into as the records as well, but like a nickname they can change their name?
Nah, I'm in Florida.
Because in my state, apparently, or in my county, it's like they can. So if you have a son named Julio, he can change his name to Jezebel if you wanted. And if you had a girl named Susan, she can change her name to Butterfly, or and the teachers and in records have these changes to their names, and
that's crazy.
It is difficult as hell to figure out who the hell is who in records for anything. Because it's like, okay, so I don't have that name. What's the name? What's the gender? There's all these factors now, and it's like, oh god, do you have to have a whole stat sheet to just? It used to be you have your first name and last name, maybe the middle name or initial or something, and you'll find the kid. Now you pretty much have to have the full stat sheet to find them because of all this identity stuff. And it's like, is this what's important to have for kids in school, or is actually learning things important? Because this is
learning
waste of energy. Because I'm thinking about this too. This is something I didn't used to think about before, but thinking at all and putting time into remembering stuff, to remember things, takes energy. Imagine being a teacher having to remember students' names, what they changed their name to, and then what they identify as he, she, him, they, do that, or whatever. Oh my god! And then how many kids? They must be exhausted. At 2 hours in, fuck, I'm trying to teach them a lesson. I'm trying to remember their names. I'm trying to remember how to call them. But
eventually, that teacher is going to be indoctrinated or get used to asking those questions of what do you identify as? What is this? What is that? And that's going to infect the people. That is going to affect passively the people around that teacher, even if they don't agree with the indoctrination. It's going to passively spread like a freaking virus. The idea that you can...
I guess my point was an odd way to add to obesity, because like you're burning more thinking energy, you're gonna want to eat more food, and you're gonna get fatter kids in school. I was going to that because like honestly, if you're trying to remember stuff, you feel more tired sometimes. Like after streaming, sometimes people are tired because they're trying to run a show, they're trying to remember things, they're trying to handle different things, and like, man, I'm gonna go for another 12 hours, and it's like you're gonna snack on some food, you're gonna get some munchies, so it's like, think about that in school though with kids. It's like they're gonna like, oh god, I can't remember. Were you a he, him, they, thou? Your name was Jack, now it's Sally. Fuck it, and I'm gonna get in trouble if I call you something wrong, probably.
Cindy,
like,
they, who?
So I'm like, and then they're gonna start eating food a lot because they're stressed out. They're gonna get fatter kids with gender identity issues.
Hence the blue-haired fat weirdos, man. That's where they come from.
Now I'm becoming Alex Jones Jr. with my theory.
Trying to turn the frogs gay.
Trying to turn them into obese kids with your gender identity name changers.
You're like Charlie from Philadelphia and Alex Jones together.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, Always Sunny, that meme.
Oh,
of, like,
okay.
Connecting the dots.
I was like, is that a person in Philadelphia of
Conspiracy?
Yeah. To know about?
But yeah, continuing, accompanying this announcement, the user also included a more detailed description of the panel, which states, the long and rich history of drag has graced the world with entertainment, culture, political action, and so much more. It is no wonder, then, that today the art form has reached such a cultural significance that the truths and concepts of drag performance permeate countless aspects of our lives, including Star Wars. And I'm just thinking, like, what the fuck is there ever anyone drag in Star Wars? Like, what are you talking about? It continues. Some of Star Wars' very best characters.
Obi-Wan had to dress up and drag to distract Dooku from something with R2D. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like this is more pertinent in like the Kiss fandom, because Kiss started as a drag group. They were like Twisted Sister. They were like the original Twisted. They were in drag, and then they started doing the face paint and stuff and like the suits. But originally they were just a drag band. Because they're trying to stand out. They're trying to be different. But yeah, like they're all. Well, I mean, I guess they're bi because they had orgies. But yeah, they're all straight essentially. But yeah, they were doing drag initially.
They were smart and gay.
And yeah, it continues. Some of Kiss has been on my mind a lot because I love the song Love Gun, so I've been singing a lot in my head. And I've been listening to more Kiss from like Double Platinum. It's like, god damn, like I've always liked these songs, but really listening to it blaring in my car, it's like, god, Paul Stanley, his voice is amazing. It's just like, god, this is probably my favorite vocalist if I really had to talk about the art of rock and roll singing. It's like, wow, like, yeah, Kiss, when you actually listen to their music, isn't like stellar. It's just really good party songs, but wow, what a great artist. But anyway, continues. Some Star Wars very best characters embody various core principles of drag, whether it's Din Djarin's drag as personal expression and self-discovery, Asajj Ventress's drag as queer rebellion, or Padme Amidala's drag as self-empowerment. The relevance of drag. Din Djarin's the Mando.
Oh, okay.
The relevance of drag even spills out of the pages and screens of Star Wars and flows through the fandom itself through hobbies like cosplay. What? And it's like, wait, so why didn't you just make this cosplay panel?
Cosplay. That sounded a lot less creepy. Just like Star Wars cosplay. Okay, so normal Star Wars. Gotcha. Okay.
Cool. Queer rebellion. It's, you know what that sounds like? It sounds like we need the Yankees to put down that queer rebellion down south.
They do know like queer is a derogatory term in like the gay community, right?
Right, exactly. It's weird.
They
it's
don't
like
understand that.
People of color. It's like, yeah, my grandparents used to have to go to the people of color water fountain.
When when I was growing up, if one of my gay family members, so it's when I'll say queer, that was the bad one. That's the sick one, like that's.
But if a famous person is okay with it that they like, then that's okay to say that all the time.
Thank you. Gotcha.
Yeah, no, I like, yeah, like it's fun. Yeah, queer used to be like queer.
Yeah,
gotcha. And now it's like we're wearing it. Price like, okay, you're identifying as this is like. This is a slur. Like, I'm not getting. It's like the South Park thing where it's like, what if there's a homosexual on a motorcycle? It's like that's a gay fag. Like,
Mr. Trunk dropped some knowledge. He said it was positive at first, then turned negative. Now it's positive. I guess I was during the negative time period. I guess. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
queer is always positive. AIDS positive.
HIV positive. Yeah.
There, what does it say? There are no stores, pharmacies for those gay.
They're gay related immune
related
disorders.
immune
Call it
deficiency.
grids. It was invented by Fauci in the 80s.
That's so good. I'm taking that clip.
It's just a little bit off from like, yeah, Trump would say things like this, and it's amazing. I love Trump, and I love the memes he would do, and
So do
the
I.
fact that someone made such a believable meme of like Trump on the phone with Fox News.
I believe his mother was a meme and gave birth to him. His father. He's the child of a meme.
It concludes, while taking an introductory look at the history and function of drag in our world today, let's also explore its thematic resonance and influential presence in everyone's favorite far, far away galaxy.
No.
Walton, have you seen American Psycho with Christian Bale?
Yes.
All right, you know when he's having that like sort of date with his secretary, and he's playing like Huey Lewis or someone, and he's talking about like, before his previous albums, this, that, but it's like, and then he's talking about like, this was like a synergy of this and that and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, really, really like making a show of his like, how smart he is and how in touch with culture he is and how great, like, it's really just like, this is just nonsense pop songs from a pop band that has no, like at best the relevance is just menial emotions, like introductory, like basic carnal emotions. There's nothing thought-provoking about it, but he's like making it like an Ebert and Roper review. That's what this reads like, where it's like you're really churching up fucking gay dudes in drag. That like, what is the Star Wars? What do you? It's like that meme of Stone Toss where it's like, oh, our new ad for, and it's like, how does this sell burgers? And the guy's like, burgers. So the arc continues. As noted above, this shouldn't come as a surprise given their grooming agenda at Disney during the fight with Ron DeSantis in Florida. Amid that fight, numerous Disney executives revealed that just how entrenched the agenda is in the company. Then executive producer Latoya Ravino admitted that she had a not so secret gay agenda and was pushing it in her pocket of the Proud family. She said, in my little pocket of Proud Family Disney TVA, the showrunners were super welcoming. Meredith Robertson, her leadership over there has been so welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda. Maybe it was that way in the past, but I guess something must have happened in the last. They are turning it around. They're going hard. And then like all that momentum that I felt, that sense of I don't have to be afraid to have these two characters kiss in the background. I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness. If you see anything queer in the show, no one would stop me. No one was trying to stop me.
Put that person in front of a poultry truck, please.
Yeah, this movie's good, but it could use some queers in the background.
Yeah, I'm totally not.
Except when we show it in China, then we'll edit it out.
The biggest one they got away with. I don't know how they snuck this in, but in the Last of Us Part 3 episode, there's a whole episode on gay. What is that?
It was a sausage fest.
They weren't looking.
They were docking at the strawberries. It was crazy.
They're happy to taste something
They're teaching us, making our kids watch the TVMA Last of Us gays and their strawberries.
There's a comment I read that was great because he was like, "This is the last straw. This is no longer hiding the LGBTQ propaganda plan or something." And he's like, "I was forced to watch this episode." He's like strapped to the chair in Clockwork Orange, and he's like forced to watch the gay episode. It's like, you must watch No.
He had a pickup truck, not a Prius. How fucking insulting is that?
I just love that. I
They
was
turned
forced
the
to watch-
Chevy S10 gay.
I was forced to watch this episode. I had a gun to my head. I had to watch it.
They made Home Depot gay.
Like we had to watch Velva, and we ain't complaining that hard.
It's queer survivalism, rookie. You don't understand the danger.
The queerness of survival.
They almost got him.
Like you read this and like there's a lot of not exploitation necessarily, hyperbole in this article, connecting like this thing with bigger things and be like, this is exactly the same as this like queer agenda by this TVA from Proud Fan or whatever. It's like,
I mean, for God's sake,
you're really grasping here. Like it's the same umbrella company, but like this is just a weirdo panel that maybe is reflective of Lucasfilm and whatnot, but like this is minor. Like ultimately they're just worried about making money off their shows, and these people look at Twitter and they think this is the fandom and the loudness, and so they're like, I don't blame Disney or these companies buying in, because they're looking at social media as a like litmus for the rest of the country or the market,
right?
And it's like, well, that's a big deal, so we better pander.
Well, I also think I agree. I think it's an aspect of it, but they're also a part of that. They are a part of that agenda. They are working together. They know the algorithm is going to get pushed toward this hyperbole, so that's why they do. And to be fair, to be absolutely fair, same reason why some people in the Fandom Menace do those hate watch videos, because they are playing to an algorithm that has been created. They're playing to a hyperbole that has been created, and it works. So I mean, you got people on both sides doing this.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's just more stacking of like, oh, Disney did this, and so this is just that, and it's like
Disney's gay. Disney's gay. Yeah, Disney is gay. We already know that. All right.
It's like, dude, Sleeping Beauty was what, directed or written by a fucking gay? Like, if you're really concerned, you wouldn't watch any of this shit. You wouldn't watch anything, because it's like everyone in Hollywood's fucking gay or a Jew. or they're bending to the gays and Jews. Like Kanye, it's funny. Kanye had like this spreadsheet of, they show on his phone, of like all these major corporations and they're like top executives, and it was color coded. So it's like everyone on here is gay or a Jew, or they're married to a gay or a Jew. And it's like, dude, it's like almost the whole fucking chart. And it's like, what the fuck?
I mean, they've been successful.
So it's funny because like you look at the long history back to like even when it was the good old days of like Terminator and manly shows and none of the gays going to Home Depot in their Chevys agenda. It was still run by the Jews and the gays. Like Hollywood was a place where, like everyone hates the gays and you might get beat up, but like you could be in Hollywood and get away with it. Like this is that's been like the safe haven historically the whole time. Like the arts has always been like,
gotcha.
Yeah, they're a fruit, but
the
like
safe space.
That was always been the safe space for like the outcast, weirdo, artsy.
Mr. Tickle Trunk, have a good night. He's heading out, Angus.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, I don't have to work tomorrow, so I'm just really enjoying a full run. Versus
I was saying Mr. Tickle Trunk's in the audience. He said have a good night.
No, I know. Yeah, I understood.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for being in the chat. You're funny as hell, Tickle Trunk.
And Mr. Tickle Trunk, if you're still there, tell me this. Angus trying to tell me if I want to get wealthy, I need to marry a gay Jew. Is that what I have to do? Is that how I become famous?
Pretty much. You don't have to be gay or a Jew, but you can marry one.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna start looking for him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Find me in the chat if you could.
I thought about tweeting. I thought about tweeting something. I need something more, but it's like the greatest defiance of the Jewish deep state is an uncircumcised penis.
Thrusting
I'm like,
forward.
do I show a picture of a foreskin penis? Like it's so, the penis is a very volatile image, if it's not
just use something like a silkworm,
Oh, an allusion to a foreskin penis. Okay.
Absolutely.
Interesting. I like that. I'll have to get what's his name? Pop it. Whoa! Oh my! Speaking of God, more bad takes from Papa Kyle. Kiss. Last
You
time
get
I
it,
saw
bro?
Kiss Paul spent the entire show spanking himself.
What?
That sounds hot. Wait, Kiss sucks. You went to see Kiss.
Go,
Maybe he's being
say it.
sarcastic.
Like, that's what I'm trying to piece out. Is like, did you see this on TV? Why are you watching Kiss if they suck?
No, Papa is fucking with you. That's what that troll does.
Well, I
He is
know.
the greatest
I know.
troll.
He's a troll. But I never know what's real with him. And that's why I'm like,
That's why he's a
"I'm
great troll.
triggered!" Kiss is awesome.
Brilliant.
But yeah, the gay agenda.
Yeah, the gay agenda. So this is a bunch of just.
Gay
So this is what is this one person who was just like, I'm going to insert my gayness into everything, or just a horrible quote about confusing drag and cosplay. Is that what this is? Is that what that is?
That
I'm
gay
humbled.
Jedi.
Grateful over the forest, gay moons. Those unmanscaped moons.
Oh my gosh, I cannot fight you right now. I don't have the fighting clothes on, so we're gonna have
Star
to
Wars
reschedule this. Sorry.
I just like how they're like, whether it's the Din Djarin's drag as personal expression and self-disgust. Like, what are you talking?
Listen,
What?
Are they talking about him as a Mandalorian? I'm confused. Like,
If you're dragging as, unless you're a woman dragging as a Mandalorian, then like that's just cosplay. It's
it's
not even drag.
cosplay.
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Like,
it's a roller for gender reversal. We've seen it
That's-
100
that's
fucking
what I was saying,
times.
too, like, even
the
if, like,
fact
a
that
dude-
like this is a drag panel, but then all they're saying is cosplay. Now they're trying to like graph the two, so
And
then
mix
it's
the two.
undistinguishable.
Yeah.
And so like they'll just be like, I'm just cosplaying, you bigot.
These are weirdos who want to be accepted, and you're not. Get back in the fucking closet. We don't care what you do. Go circle jerk and drag. But we're having cosplay over here, and we want some hot cosplay chicks. I love Ray cosplays, especially by big bitted women with no underwear on. Those are my favorites.
Yeah.
So if I can get
Well, it's
more of
like-
those.
Well, it's like
Thank
even if like a dude crossplayed as Gina Carano or something, or Cardoon, is that her name? Yeah,
Cartoon, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that'd just be cosplay, right?
And
like,
but a dude in a slave layer outfit, all right, that's totally gay. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
gonna call it.
totally.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it was Cardoon, that'd just be, all right, that's that. Okay, whatever,
Speaking of that, we are having a fundraiser to get DJ Odyssey in a slave Leia costume, guys. I will
Wait,
make sure to
why?
share that link out because we love DJ. And his tractor broke down in the late fall, and he had to get it repaired, and it took away from some of the money. He's a farmer. It took up some of the money that he saves up for the winter before the next season, the growing season starts. Right. So it was like $1,500, and he was trying to make it up. And I forgot like a year and a half ago, it was before I went on my hiatus to enter into Hordor and mount methamphetamine to bang an orc. I was making a joke about him getting him in a slave Leia costume because he would wear the bunny costume and all that shit. And I forgot about it, but it became like a thing while I was away. Like people were joking with him about it for like a year. And so when I came back, I said, well, let's do this fundraiser. And I said, we're going to get all these people involved. For instance, right now, the legend of this is growing. Drew Taylor, Supreme Heretic, will be waxing his balls. We want to make sure that before he puts on the slave Leia costume that he is going to be waxed. And Shellback is actually going, and Pickles is going to be holding him up as the entire community backs DJ. Just backs his sacrifice, his noble sacrifice for the entire community, putting on this fucking costume for us. And they're going to be protecting his man ass because it's going to be waxed. Drew's going to be waxing it. And so, this is something, he's going to be a monolith, Angus. He's going to be a monolith of bravery, of stunning bravery.
He's going to start a trend of tractors wearing slave Leia gear
Yes.
when they do farm work.
And the entire community is behind him. We're going to be tackling each other to to hold him up, to grab his ankles, his shoulders, and hold him up.
Slave Leia outfits with
Yes.
Slave One toys.
Thrusting ourselves in support of this brave, stunning and brave DJ Odyssey.
Especially
freshly waxed.
especially doing Black
Oh my
History
God.
Month.
Freshly waxed by a Filipino and out there wearing a slave Leia costume.
When they ask, what are you doing for Black History Month? This is the answer.
This is what we're doing. This is our fucking mission, y'all. Support the fandom menace. Yeah, this is what we're doing.
What am I doing for Black History Month? Well, I'm donating to a police fundraiser because they'll definitely need it.
Papa Cotton has agreed to take pictures of DJ. Thank you, Papa. Thank you very much.
Oh, I know he'll love that.
Oh, he will. He's involved. Papa supports the whole community. This is going to be. We're all getting involved. Embrace it. This is about supporting someone in need, a farmer, a man of the earth, someone who feeds your children. We have to make sure he is an embarrassing fucking gay. I mean, he is a stunning example of leadership, of breaking down barriers. We're all getting together in this. This is totally not gay, Papa, and thank you very much for your support. We will be sending you a very long lens, apparently.
Oh, that's hilarious. I hope it works out. It's awesome.
It will.
I'll
It
try
absolutely
to
will.
help. Let me know how I can help for whatever in the future.
Absolutely.
Whenever this is going on.
When we have the fundraising live stream, we are going to be playing the last episode of The Last of Us in the background for everyone. We want to make sure the ambiance is proper. All right. So Bill and Frank will be there. And, we're going to get this thing done. We're going to get this thing done. This is going to be great. I don't know how many. I have any more gay euphemisms. I can't.
I think you've killed a wizard. She's having fun with this. But anything else? Anything else? Memes or anything to promote? Get ready for coming up. You got your stream. It'll be tomorrow actually because today's Friday now. Who you having on this week? Walton, for your rogues.
Oh, me. Actually, Rogue Entertainment will not be on this week. I am in dire straits. I have a GoFundMe out there to try and save my ass. I need about another $550 to pay last month's rent. If you guys can help me out, I would greatly appreciate it. And so this week, I'm going to be in Tampa, painting the interior of a house for money. So I'm hustling, doing everything I could possibly do. So
Right.
there will
Is it
be
a
no
boutique?
Rogue. What's that?
Is it a boutique?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to be wearing 80s ball shorts while I'm rolling the walls. So,
Wow.
Perfect.
yeah, thinking about live streaming on TikTok. I'm a big TikToker now, in case you don't know. And I know that they really like that over there. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, I'm freshly clipped, freshly shaved, and I'm ready to go. It was not done by a Filipino, so it's not too smooth, but I've got it done, and I'm ready to go paint this house. Yeah, man. So the next time I'm probably, I was going to do a live stream later tonight, but I ended up hanging out with you fine folks. I might do one Sunday to make up for it, but I'll try not to stream over Vinny Tartamella's Sunday streams, guys. Go check him out. Tina Bojan, there be Rogues here, goes over there and hangs out on that panel. So there's a couple of them other Rogues, Chris Fisk, Itapakuyan. So go check out them and the great artists and promotion of independent creators there. And please check me out on Wednesday at the Mad Dump I host for Sparky News Podcast. We are going to begin reviewing the Mayor of Kingstown. And we're going to actually be changing it up a little bit on his Wednesday shows. We are going to be using an entire segment to promote what is good in TV, not just all awful, because everybody hate watches and everybody does that. So Tina, myself, Mad Morgan, and Mr. Grant Gregory, and whoever else on the panel wishes to join. Sometimes Pops comes through, sometimes Jeremy from the Barroom Podcast. We're going to be reviewing episodes of good shows and talking about what's good in entertainment. There's a lot of movies and shows that are falling through the cracks. What's that?
What's the show you're watching?
The Mayor of Kingstown. I mean, let me. If there's room on the panel, I can throw you guys a link if you would like to come and join. If you want to watch those episodes. Neither had I.
What is this on? Is this on what? Apple?
Epics? I think it might. I'm not sure. I'll have to. You know what? I'll have to look it up and send you. I got send a clip to the rest of the guys in the Wednesday
It's on
chat.
Paramount Plus. But I might have that because
you sail the side of the high seas early in
I subscribed so I could watch
out.
the AFC Championship. I was hoping the Bengals would have won. I like the Chiefs, of course, Andy Reid. So
you're going for Andy Reid? Are you really?
No. I was projecting Bengals because I'm in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
always loved the Bengals. It's my number 3 team.
Mhm.
But I was like, dude, this is crazy. We're so close to like, for the longest time, I was playing Madden 18, which is the year we won
Mhm.
the Super Bowl that year of Madden. And it's probably the best version of Madden in the new gen. And anyway, I've put a lot of hours playing franchise mode, building teams, played like, of course, Eagles,
Right.
Titans, Chiefs, Bengals, Browns, Bears, Jets, Vikings. I play a lot of teams, and I usually do the same style and just build the same thing all the time, but little variations. But I love trying to beat the computer and beat myself each year in the game. But there was like 2 years in a row playing at Cincinnati that in the franchise I went to the Super Bowl and played the Eagles both times, and both times I would make it Kelly Green, the 60s jersey.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just like, oh my god, like it'd be crazy. Like what's the chances? Like this is just something I was having fun doing, and it happened in the game, and now we're a game away from this happening. Like if the Eagles lose, I would be totally not mad if it's the Bengals that beat us. The Chiefs, they're kind of in the middle of the pack, but I love Mahomes and Andy Reid, and it'll be funny, unfortunately. Like, good job, Andy. You finally brought Philly a Super Bowl.
I like that. I like that, Angus.
Like a sore wound type of thing of like, thanks, Andy.
Mhm.
Because it's like, yeah, you did so great for us, but we never got it with you, unfortunately. And then you lost to us. So we've never beat Andy. We've played him 2 or 3 times since he's gone, and we lost both or 3 times. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting matchup because
it's going to be a good
they're
game.
very
You're right.
different. There's something core there that is because a lot of the stuff is from Peterson, and so that was his coach and his quarterback. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
That team is still kind of his coaching tree, so it'll be an interesting matchup. But yeah, no, I'm super excited, man. Like it's not the same as when we won a few years ago. That was just like, oh my god, we're here, and then we did it with the circumstances of everything against us from the start after Wentz went out. But like, it's exciting. It's just like, well, we already got one now, so anything else is just like, well, it's cool. We're catching up to the Cowboys, but it's not the same. It's just like, all right, okay, we're at a Super Bowl, like cool, but it's not like, yeah, I bawled when we won because it's like years of being, tormented by cow baby fans in Oklahoma, and I'm a Philly fan with no background to be a Philly fan. Like no one made me or raised me. It was
Angus. How many times have you watched the mic'd up replay of 52? Because I watch that shit like once a week for the longest time.
I watch. I'm an objective fan, man. So like Tony Romo is probably my favorite all-time quarterback. Like his body of work. I love Tony Romo.
He's good
as a player. Like it's infuriating, and it sucks that like it would be nice for him to have lost the NFC Championship, because he's a Cowboy. But if he would have won, it'd been like, that's a good guy to win a Super Bowl,
right?
And the fact that he didn't like go to Denver when he could have and he just retired, it's like, damn it, dude. Like
everybody in my house is NFC East. I'm Eagles, Suns, Giants. Roommate is Cowboys. So, I mean, that was pretty much our mentality going up to the playoffs. Was we're repping the NFC, NFC East. That's how we kind of didn't kill one another. And then, it just fell down the way it fell down. I've been very humble. I just want to say, as an Eagles fan, which is a rare thing, I've been very humble. I have not rubbed it in anybody's face.
I've rubbed it. Well, I'm in Ohio, and there's a lot of Ohio State, and like Cowboys already got a big fandom because of history, but also because of Zeke. There's a lot of Ohio State fans that are Cow Baby fans.
Yeah.
And so every year it's like, oh, you better look out for Cowboys. We're real this year. And then I'm like, how about them Cowboys? Yeah, I rubbed it in their face when they lose because fuck them. Because they get such a big head. Like, yeah, we're looking real. You better look out for us. Oh, we beat you. I told you. Like, dude, you beat us at home when we gave 4 turnovers with a backup, and we only lost by a touchdown on the last drive.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like,
right.
Just think if we had Jalen Hurts in that game, like we did 34 points with the backup and turnovers. So Like, I'm not fucking scared of you.
No,
Like, you can beat us pound for pound. You got a good team, but yeah, it's like I love because of the fandom and the every year it's like, oh yeah, they lost, and it's like, whoa, we're winning, we're in the hunt, and then we're in the playoffs, and look out, we're going to get it this year, and then look, Dak sucks. And it's like the yo-yo every year of these fans. It's a character thing, like being a Philly fan, at least historically, maybe not now with maybe continued success, but historically, it is a character measure. Like, you could be a piece of shit and be a Philly fan, but if you're a Philly fan, if you're a Bills fan or a Browns fan, like, you're historically just a beat down fandom.
Yeah,
It's
no shit.
always at best like runner up. And so that kind of says something about your character, that you're sticking to them. Versus if you're a Cowboys fan, oh, you lost, didn't make the play. Whoa, we got 5 Super Bowls. Like, you just lean on that. Lakers fans, we got 17 or 16 rings. Like, there's no challenge to being a fan of a legacy team.
Yeah.
So like that's what yeah, like I take a lot of pride being a Philly fan, and that's why it's weird a second Super Bowl with a legit chance to win. It's like, I don't know, something feels weird about this. Not the match, it just like it feels it's weird having a second time to like legitimately maybe win it.
Dude, I'll tell you this, and you're right, because the moment when, oh god, the last throw of Super Bowl 52, right? With that Hail Mary.
Oh fuck! It's like, no.
Right, when it went down, like it was a, it wasn't caught. I was still standing there with my hand on my head for like 4 seconds. My girlfriend at the time had to go, "Hey, you won the Super Bowl," because I was just like, it's unbelievable.
My baby boy, he's maybe 2 years or so. No, he would have been almost 3. We were watching the game, but at some point, he went to bed, and then like we actually won. I grabbed him out of bed. I'm like, we won, Lucas. He's just kind of like totally lost and like, what the fuck? I'm trying to sleep, and I'm just like hysterical. And then I'll go back to bed, and I'm crying. I don't know, like it sounds silly because like, oh, it's just a game. It's like, no, like I know I didn't do it, and I'm just a fan, and it means nothing if like I react or not versus like the players. But like I've had so much it's like watching Star Wars, like when they do it good, like when episode 7 came out, like I didn't cry, but it's just like I've had so much life devoted and built around this franchise that means something. It's more than just something pretty on screen. Like, there's something metaphysically important about this.
Yeah,
and there's so much investment in the Eagles and sticking to them when like the NFC Championship in 08, where it's like, fuck, we're so close beating Warner, damn it. Fuck, maybe next year we'll get better, and then fuck, we don't. We get worse, and then Chip Kelly starts out great, and then that falls apart.
And we have some great players that come through. Like I saw Dawkins on the sideline the other day, at the 49ers game, and I was like, yeah, like, oh thank God, I wish Brian was out there.
Yeah,
there's a lot of memorable players came through the Eagles team. I'm glad Big Dick Nick came back, and did that what he did.
He almost retired after St. Louis, so it's crazy because like he may not have even been a backup at Kansas City for a while to be under Peterson's regime eventually. So it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I read his like post Super Bowl like bio he did. He's a big like left, like I wouldn't say Left Behind, but like that kind of Christendom that read Left Behind series.
Yeah,
he's kind of in that kind of church, and so he's really into like all the Jesus shit, and so that's half of like the book is like Jesus shit, and like just trusting God. It's like, yeah, like this whole like, oh well, I want to thank God for my success. It's like, that always irritates me. Not because I'm an atheist, like even as a Christian, I'm like, this is why are you thinking God didn't catch that ball? God didn't throw that. Like, you did it. You put the effort in. God had nothing to do with that.
So yeah,
but yeah, he's one of those people, and so you got to drudge through that to read like his personal take about his progression in the NFL and then to the Super Bowl season.
The way that I understand what you're saying, the way that I navigate through that kind of talk is the way that I view God, which is the one energy, the force. We are all connected to it. We're all a part of it. So when you are being thankful, at least in the way that I see spirituality, when I'm being thankful, I'm being thankful for my, what I have, my abilities, my connection to source, my connection to everything around me. So I try and translate something like that. Like, I thank God for helping me win this. It's thanking, everyone, the stadium, the air, the ball, the people around you, the team that worked together, the energy that made that possible. That's how I interpret it. It's totally different than what's being said, but that's just how I get through that kind of thing. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's because it is you. Like, in my opinion, we are a part of God. I'm a connection to God. I'm a part of the all, the everything, the one energy. So, yeah, I'm thankful to the rest of the energy around me to help me to accomplish this task or get this done.
In that analogy, I like to think I'm the testicle of God.
You are so the testicle of God. You are the angry testicle of God. You're the one that hangs a little lower, got 3 extra pubes on it. The one where all the testosterone cometh. I do have to get to bed though, man.
Oh yeah, no, I should go to bed and get ready for just activities tomorrow, but I'm going to stay up and play Rome Total War. Really close. I don't know if you ever played Rome Total War. It's a lot. It's an older game from like 2004. It was a game. It's a PC game.
Oh, I love PC games. Okay.
It's a game that, so being older and stuff, I've realized that growing with a single mom and then stepdad, where mom's in control still, has definitely affected my life a lot. And so me being a procrastinator, like I got through school easy because I was pretty smart, and also I'm from Oklahoma, so it's like the education standard is lower because we're a poor state.
Mm-hmm.
So I coasted easy. Then I go to college, and it's like everything equated, and I was not prepared for that because I didn't have parents that really like pressed me to always be ready and train for higher levels or anything. And I never was pushing the sports. I wanted to, but I was kept from it, because I grew up with asthma, so overprotected mom and all that. And so with like games or whatever, I had never had a mom or a parent to be like, no, stick to it. Don't quit, stick to it, figure it out, whatever. So if a game got hard, I'm just quit. And so there's games like Heroes of the Pacific on Xbox PS2. It's a World War II Pacific Island game where you're playing different stages of planes in the war fighting the Japs. And what's funny is I finally beat the game. The end of the game is the last level that I stopped at. And so years later, like a decade later, I played. And I'm like, that was it? I just had to beat this and I was done? And I quit, and realized, or like Shadow of the Colossus, one of my favorite. That's my favorite game. I quit at like number 4 out of 16.
The Adventure of Link, bro. Played that game so much, never beat it. And then a couple years ago, I just said, fuck it. I got on my emulator and beat it.
Yeah. So yeah, you get it. So Rome Total War is a very like long game. You essentially start with 3 factions of Rome, and Rome is its own colony or whatever, and that's the Senate. And the Senate's telling you like, go here, take this spot. We'll give you money, or we'll give you recruits or rewards, however many turns. So it's either 2, 5, or 10 turns for a task. And so the faster you do it, the faster you can go to like the next task for rewards and build up, and you're upgrading your cities. So it's a lot of like Age of Empires type shit.
Okay.
But then there's like diplomacy with the different factions. So you got like Gaul is almost always going to be an enemy. Greece, Carthaginians. Those are like always going to be your enemies, even if you like have peacetime. You're always going to have to fight them because that's where your next land spot is. And so eventually, essentially the goal is get 50 spots on the map and outlast or destroy Rome.
I like that.
And so that is the base objective for all factions once you can play the other ones. But you want to play Rome because they actually have like the intrigue of pleasing Rome and the people and the Senate. Your family members are generals, and they upgrade and get higher ranks in the top 6 spots of the Senate. So there's this kind of play, and eventually you can like recruit spies and assassins to like spy on cities, spy on diplomats, assassins to kill or sabotage. And if you have no governors, which is your family members, or no cities, you lose the game. So that's how you like destroy other factions. They become rebel factions. If you knock their arm, if they have an army but you take their cities and they got nowhere else, like they're a rebel now. So it's not like a coordinated effort to be an enemy now. They're just a base level enemy. So Yeah, it's got like the whole Mediterranean map up into like Russia, Britain, uh, the southernmost parts like North Africa, and then
Okay.
like Egypt and like Parthia, whatever. So yeah, it's a big map. There's like probably 70 or 80 settlements total. Your goal is try to get 50. And I've watched this guy's playthrough of the old version, and he told me some little things like, because you can fight with your allies. So what he does is he'll send one single cavalry unit because they can go the furthest each turn.
Mhm.
He'll send them to follow their armies, and when they fight a new city to take, instead of auto fighting, you can actually go in the fight, and it'll actually like equate the fight better.
Okay.
So they might have a smaller army on the home turf, but because they're a better unit, they like wipe out your allies, and then you never fight. You just watch it and then withdraw. So that's a way to stall your brother factions from advancing. That way you can take their spots. What would be their spots?
Uh-huh.
All right. So I have like mastered this now on this turn. And so my brother factions only have like 3 settlements apiece, and I got like 25.
Oh shit.
So yeah, I've like put a lot of effort, and I'm close to like beating it. And then I'm going to try it as the Scythians, which is like the Russians.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I've had a lot of fun, but it's frustrating because I'm someone with like RPGs and long-term games where like I'll go hard for a month and then I'll stop, and then I come back and I'm like, what was I doing? How do I play this? So I got to restart it, and it's a frustrating like Sisyphus ordeal for me.
Mm-hmm.
So
do you like space games? Like the same type. Okay. Well, there's this game that my son turned me on to called Stellaris. It's been out forever. They keep coming out with mods with it because it's really popular.
How do you spell it?
Stellaris. Let's see. STELLARIS. I use it on Steam, or I play it on Steam. And this game, you start out with a solar system. You've got your one habitable planet. You can, in the beginning, you just have, your first planets are just your generalized planets. Then you create, you get minerals, or I don't think minerals, energy. Energy is like your currency, and aluminum or alloys. Alloy, that's what you use to build ships and different things. And they have all different planet types. Your habitability changes depending on your races. You can do things like take over races. You can have all different types of governments. You can have you can have a government where your species, your home species, is it. Everyone else is a slave. You can have complete freedom, and they all come with their own ups and downs, with control as far as your civilization goes. And you just go from star system to star system. Each system has its different attributes. Some of them can have 1 habitable, 2 habitable, sometimes 3 habitable planets. You also run into these gates, or structures that were built before our civilizations are they're ancient progenitor civilizations. You get to a certain point in your tech tree when you can then begin to create superstructures, Dyson spheres, create gates that lead to other places, portals in space, like wormholes, and depending on the end game scenario, there are portals that go to other dimensions where there are these end game creatures, like these freaking massive armadas that just come pouring through the galaxy and just start destroying everybody. It's a fun game. It keeps expanding. You can create your own race if you choose to. It's gotten to that point now. The expansions have just all different types of life forms, from crystalline to flesh to flying to seafaring to like this. And like I said, depending on your race, depends on the type of planet, habitability, how much habitability you can have. Then you can get to the point where you can terraform. Like I get to the point where I create Gaia planets. I'm just terraforming planets and fucking changing species and also changing their genome so I can add more attributes and the way that I want. You can create prison planets, slave planets. It's a game. It's one of those games. It's like Civilization on crack. It's the way to explain it. Galactic crack. But it's very expansive. It's very long. But unfortunately, it's one of those games where the only way to get achievements in it is if you use gauntlet mode. Right, you where you stop is where you stop. Doesn't matter if the power cuts out or whatnot. Like the game will save where your last turn was. So if you fuck around and find out with a civilization you think you can take, and they have alliances of people that you don't know about, next thing you know, people are coming up to, people are coming at you from the other end of your galaxy, because it's turn-based. And until you have hyperdrive, and even hyperdrive, when you use a hyperdrive to go from one star system to, like, you know, a different quadrant in the galaxy, it takes away from your health and your armor. You have to regenerate all of that. So you have to think ahead. You've really got to think ahead. It gets to the point where you create different sectors that have mayors, governors. They have governors with their own attributes, because all heroes have their own attributes, whether they're in your military or your social structure. And you have to create entire quadrants that are based on, okay, well, my civilization's so big now, I need an entire sector of planets that's completely energy production, you know, or completely alloy production or mineral production. And yeah, it's an amazing game. I've talked for like 10 minutes about it now. I'm sorry, but
no, I've
you'll
had
get
this
lost
with
in it.
Rome, explaining people like, well, like yeah, simply you just try to take settlements, and there's all these factions, and you try to hit this number and beat Rome. But like there's so many factors that are kind of cool, especially if you like history.
I like it
because the game Rome Total War,
Total War.
The game starts 270 BC, so it's right around the time that Rome is starting to legitimize as a power in the Mediterranean, and
Nice.
their first like conquest is going to be into like Macedon and Albania and stuff. So that's like, if you're the green guys, you're on the bottom of Italy, and so you're going to start spreading into Greece, Macedon, Asia Minor, like Ionia and stuff. So
that sounds so cool, dude. I'm going to be looking for that.
Yeah,
game.
if you're the Julii, so they got little factors like each faction has 3 or 4 gods that they can build temples to.
Mm-hmm.
And so each god, the more you progress the temples, they each have kind of a key attribute for your settlement or whatever. So
nice.
Like Mercury, for the green team that I'm doing, Mercury is like economics. It gives you a trade boost, so money. There's Juno, so she does like population boosts, which depending what settlement you take, you might need a boost artificially to try to supplement your settlement to grow it.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's not at a crossroads or anything, so it's more obscure to get to, even if you build the roads, things like that. And then there's Mars that helps with like experience points for your troops when you automatically have more, like they've been in a few fights.
Okay.
So the more fights they got, the more resilient they are as a unit. So it's less likely having to recruit more to replenish them. So that's why you'd want experience.
I could talk about this for the next 20 minutes, but I have to pee and go to bed.
Yeah.
I am so sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, and then also there's culture penalties, which this is something I never noticed till recently. Is like when you take a new city, especially the further away you are from your capital, there's a penalty for how far you are with your people, like being foreign from what you are, Roman. And then also if like they have the same buildings, but it's Greek versus Roman, so that's a culture penalty. So that stacks up on your like happiness of your city. Closer you are to your capital and longer term they're Roman, the more happier the population. So yeah, things like that.
It sounds like Civ a lot.
Yeah, it's a big civilization game, kind of
like
war
that.
Civilization. But yeah, I'll let you go. I appreciate you coming on. We've had a good discussion about all sorts of shit.
And that was fun. Thanks
fun
for
as always.
Me, dude.
And yeah, I appreciate you. You can take off and say bye to the chat. Thank you, Papa Cotton, Cherry, for modding. I get you on sometime. Of course, Wizard Brain Lou, she donated again in my GoFundMe. I appreciate it. That's the Meth Gator coffer. Mr. Tickle Trunk was great in the chat. We had Tim pop in for a while. Stony McInternet douche. Yeah, I remember your old name. I want to say there's a few more popped in. But yeah, we had a good little turnout today, more than normal. And I appreciate Karen's here. Oh, of course. Yeah. So yeah, if you want to support me, I'm still trying to build my hours up to get remonetized. So that's what that GoFundMe is for like a tip jar if you wanted to tip me or something, for the channel expenses, like trying to get my StreamYard back to full capacity and, invest in Meth Gator. So that's the whole purpose. Slowly but surely, I'm getting, the overtime to fund it. I'm hoping by Christmas this year I'll have a campaign with some art for interiors for the comic. That's the goal. And once that's through, then, hopefully I can make like some sort of like comics entertainment enterprise. But yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for Walton again. coming on. Go watch Last of Us. Enjoy it if you do. Don't enjoy it if you don't. It's not woke, even if there's intent here or there. It's just a good piece of entertainment that is relatable.
Episode 3 is very gay, but it's good. It's not. All right, let's just say.
Yeah. Until next week, unless I do another video, I appreciate y'all, and see you then.